Now with Schmidt over the middle, in the air, deflected and intercepted. And into Raider territory comes Andre Tillman. And look at him gallop all the way inside the 35.
At Advanced Hair and
Edmonton is facing
hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair. They'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
is facing
You sexy beast.
Edmonton is facing with respect to Dallas. Do you expect a different Stars club tonight? Here's Rossi tonight. The 1-0 lead. We told you Ross's been feeling it, and Vasily Podkolzin buries his second of the year. Jack Russell.
24-hour repair with no overtime rate. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Winter in Alberta doesn't mess around.
And neither does Titan Supply.
For over 50 years, we've earned the trust of our customers across a variety of industries.
Because we lead with integrity
Honesty.
and respect.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Brent from Titan Supply. When the weather hits hard,
We're fully stocked with rigging, lifting, and hauling gear that works as hard as you do.
Titan Supply,
Built on trust, driven by safety.
serving Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary.
Let us help you face the weather the Titan way.
Visit titansupply.ca.
Wendy's most important deal of the day has a fresh lineup. Pick any 2 breakfast items for $4. New 4-piece French toast sticks, bacon or sausage wrap, biscuit or English muffin sandwiches, small hot coffee, and more. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra.
Hi, I'm Al Hamilton, first captain of the Edmonton Oilers. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men, and here in Alberta, we're fighting back. This November, every dollar you give helps the Prostate Cancer Center fund early detection, testing, and life-saving support right here in our province. Let's keep it in Alberta for our fathers, brothers, husbands, and friends. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your... We can look after the men in our community.
Big play last night. Here's Shed. And I think Doc is thinking about Friday with the finish.
Sausage wrap, biscuit or English muffin sandwiches, small hot coffee, and more. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Tonight. Here's Rossi. First score. We'll get to that. But Edmonton takes a 1-0 lead. We told you Ross's been feeling it, and Vasily Podkolzin buries his second of the year.
On Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Raiders now on a first down with Schmidt over the middle, in the air, deflected and intercepted. And into Raider territory comes Andre Tillman. And look at him gallop all the way inside the 35.
Positive Friday. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. And I'm telling you, it is a positive Friday. Man, I love every day in our show, but there are days when you're just like, man, we got a killer lineup today. I love sports. I love different topics on different things. And man, we're covering the gamut today. So we'll have a one-on-one I had with Connor McDavid, talking a little bit about his journey to 1,100 points. And, you know, pretty honest responses from Connor about that. So we're going to get to that right away here coming up in a few minutes. Then we got Rick Westhead, investigative reporter. Just had his new book comes out. Well, it's actually out now. And we will discuss that in depth. Looking forward to it. It's one where I think his book, We Breed Lions, Confronting Canada's Troubled Hockey Culture, and how I think it really represents societal's issues as much as anything else, right? I think there's lots of very good people in hockey. I think there's some that still need a little bit more guidance, which we can say in society as well, right? There's lots of good moms. There's a few bad ones. There's lots of great dads. There's a few bad ones, right? It happens. And you need to address it. We can't pretend that it's not there, because it clearly is. So we'll talk to Rick about that. Also, Lorianne Munzer will be by, and I think Lori have something to say about Rick, but also what Connor McDavid has to say. And we have Nattie Neidhart, of course, WWE superstar, the longest tenured woman in WWE history. Of course, daughter of Jim the Anvil Neidhart, for many of you who a little bit older remember his time in Stampede Wrestling, then, of course, on WWE. She wrote a book, and I have to say, Last Heart Standing, H-A-R-T. I quite like it. And, man, it's raw. It's very authentic. And anytime I read a book that's kind of like an autobiography, where this one, I felt like after I was like, man, I got a pretty good sense of who she was, not just what she accomplished as a wrestler. And I quite enjoyed it. So Nattie will join us at 3:00. Craig Button will be by. We also got Tyson Barrie, former NHLer. He's in town, talking about why he's in town, but also get his thoughts on the NHL. We got 2-minute warning with Tater. Ed Hervey, the GM of the Elks. Then we got Spec. We got Low Tide. Man, we are jam-packed wall to wall today. So very much looking forward to that. Also, tomorrow night, Oilers, Avalanche, the two fastest teams in the NHL by a significant margin. If you go to NHL Edge, which tracks all the speeds and everything else of, you want to break it down to individual players, you can. You want to break it down by teams, you can. And these two teams, by a significant margin, are the two fastest teams in the NHL right now. And it's not really close. I'll give you some of the numbers. So if you look at it right now, Edmonton has the top speed, and that comes from McDavid. McDavid's top speed of 21.61. That's the fastest burst by any player this year in the National Hockey League. Nathan McKinnon is currently fourth at 23.68. Now, 22 mile an hour bursts, the Oilers number one in the NHL. 20 to 22 mile an hour bursts, Colorado's 1, Oilers 2. 18 to 20 mile an hour bursts, Colorado 1, Oilers 2. And they're quick. So you're going to the game on Saturday, expect it to be a fast-paced game. And by the way, rare that both teams will play after 3 days without playing a game. Colorado and the Oilers both last played on Tuesday, so they'll be fired up to get rolling tomorrow night. And if you want to go, we actually have a pair of seats in the lower bowl where the Oilers attack twice. We'll auction those off for Gregor's grads today. So if you want to go, lower bowl, great seats, fantastic seats to see the Oilers and the Avs. Just text in 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 with your bid, and we'll give those away. All right. So now let's get to Connor McDavid, and I caught up with the captain of the Edmonton Oilers, who, of course, fresh off scoring his 11th point. We got into seeing how much does Connor remember about his journey to 1,100 points, but also just, are you able to ever kind of enjoy it? Do you ever sit back and be like, you know what, this is kind of all right? I'm sure when you're a superstar like McDavid, and make no mistake, he's a superstar, that, you have goals, and whether you make it public or not, it's fine. But I'm sure he's somebody who wanted to get to 1,000 points. 1,000 points, a pretty big deal in the NHL. And now just every milestone he reaches, he keeps going up that pyramid, if you want to call it, that there's just fewer and fewer guys in those clubs, right? He just joined the 1,100 point club. In that club, there's 69 people, right? He's the 69th. Then you get to 1,200. Well, McDavid's probably going to be the 54th. Steven Stamkos needs 7 points to become the 53rd. I'm assuming he'll get there before McDavid scores his. Then you get to 1,300 points. Well, there'll be 39 guys there. 1,400 points, there's 22. 1,500 points, there's only 16 players. 1,600 points, there's only 11. Crosby earlier this year became the 9th guy in the 1,700 point club. There's only 4 in the 1,800 point club. There's only 2 in the 1,900 point club. And of course, there's 1 in the 2000s and beyond, Wayne Gretzky, from 2000 all the way up to the 2,800 mark. He stands alone at the top by a ways. And the way Connor McDavid is going, he should join McDavid in that 2,000 point club. Now, if Sidney Crosby chooses to play 3 more seasons after this, he could also get to the 2,000 point club. So it's, never appreciated. So here's my conversation with Connor McDavid.
Connor, 1,100 points, 69th guy to do it, 4th fastest to do it. So I want to have a little, how good's your memory?
What's your head there?
Do you remember your 100th point?
Against Florida?
Oh, good
Florida.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Your 200th point.
No, now we're gonna get.
It's your birthday. Vegas.
Oh yeah,
21st
okay.
birthday.
All right.
Okay. Now you just scored your 1,100th point.
Yeah.
You scored your 600th point in the exact same building.
Okay. Yeah.
4 years earlier,
Yep.
St. Louis.
Yep.
So out of like milestone points, and I've actually looked, you scored 29 points in the 11 games when you're going for a milestone. Do you go into a game knowing that you're close to 1 or 3 or 5?
No, not really. I would say as we got closer to 1,000, I knew, probably after 900 where I was at, and then you always remember your 1,000th one. I remember that was 18 points in, and now do the math. It's not hard to figure out. It's nice even numbers. So I get a pretty good idea now. I'm sure now I'll kind of forget about it, but kind of around the 1,000 started to know where I was at.
Like, I know that it's a team sport and you try to avoid the individual stuff, but at the same time, are you ever able to like take a step back during it and kind of appreciate, like, you know what, like I've had some goals and I'm accomplishing them and I'm doing pretty good? Do you take the moment to allow that?
Probably not enough, really. There's always something on the go. There's always the next thing. There's always the next game. There's always the next job to do. There's times when you sit back and you realize how fortunate I've been to play in this league and have some success and but probably not a good enough job in the moment, realizing how special it is to reach some of these milestones.
I think that's fair. It's kind of human nature. We're always like, it seems weird in hockey. It feels almost like that you're being arrogant if you actually kind of celebrate what you're doing. But it's how many guys do it, right?
Yeah.
Being the 4th quickest, you're going to be 3rd quickest pretty much the rest of the way to all these milestones, 12, 13, 14, all the way, and on pace to probably be the 2nd guy to 2,000. I know that's a long ways away, but would that help? Taking a few moments to kind of smile and laugh about it, maybe have a glass of wine with Lauren about it?
I think as the numbers start getting a little bit bigger, you understand your time in this league is it's not infinite. You get to spend a short period of time in this league, and as the numbers get a little bit larger, you start to understand your time is not, obviously not coming to an end, but you're never going to reach these milestones again. You're never going to get to have your 1,000 point or 800 point again. So that is nice to having gone through it to sit back and to reflect sometimes, and these milestones are a nice way to do that. So hopefully as the career goes on, there's lots more and there's lots more time to relish, I guess.
And as a guy who's amongst the elite, you probably respect how hard it is. I was crunching Ovi's splits, and so he's the only guy who can do 300 goal splits because the only guy who scored 9.
Yeah.
His first 300 took him 473 games. His next 300 took him 517, but his last 300 took him 514. He actually scored his last 300 goals faster than his first. Can try to put that into you get
you can
1,500 to 2,000 same pace.
Yeah, you can. You can put it in perspective. Obviously, Father Time is undefeated, and he obviously is somehow beaten that. So pretty impressive. I mean, obviously impressive, amazing. Didn't realize he would have done his last 300 faster than his second 300, but pretty impressive.
And Connor and I spoke about it afterwards, and he mentioned, goes, we just kind of had a philosophical conversation about how it is is difficult for I think anybody, like any parent out there, afterwards, like, geez, I wish I would have been able to remember those moments with my kids at certain ages more, right? So, we're talking a sports milestone here, but really every opportunity in life, we're probably all guilty of it at times to not truly appreciate, when you're in there. What was the line from I think it was Andy in The Office when he said, I wish you knew when you were in the best time of your life. Right? Something like that. I butchered it. I don't know the exact quote, but I think most of you who watch The Office know what I'm talking about. That was one of the best lines from that show. And I think it's true. And, for McDavid and what he's accomplished, like I find it interesting that, he's got this, but people always add a but. Some people, I should say, not all. But, well, he hasn't won a cup. That's irrelevant. One doesn't connect the other two. You can't win a cup in the regular season. You have the regular season records. That's what that is. When we're talking your 1,000 point, it's not including your power play. It's not including your playoff points. It's the regular season, right? He has 1,100 regular season points. He already has over 100 playoff points, but they're different. But some people, I don't think they can comprehend that it's different. One doesn't guarantee the other or doesn't minimize the other. If he never wins a Stanley Cup, does that mean he's not a great player? Like, you will have some people that actually will believe that, and that's fine. But it would be a foolish take. Well, I didn't win a cup. Teams win Stanley Cups. That's just the truth, right? Remember Ovechkin? Remember all the narratives around Ovechkin? And then he won a cup, and then suddenly all these people are like, oh my God, he's such a great leader, and everything changed. Like, give me a break. Be consistent. And I think with McDavid, it was funny because I had that conversation with Connor and earlier, and I mentioned it yesterday that I thought Alex Hemsky, because, Bruce Saville was kind of like a second father to him. And guess who I ran into today at the practice rink? Alex Hemsky. And he's in town. He's doing fantastic. He lives in Dallas. His two young kids are playing hockey. They're 6 and 7. And, he's like any young parent with two kids. He's on the go all the time. He's loving it. But Alex Hemsky had some severe concussions in his career. And he has battled off and on with some tough times. And he went for a treatment. He was telling me about it, and so enthusiastically. And he was just like, feels like a different human, right? He went and he did this whole psychotherapy treatment for 5 days. And it was all for him. It kind of rewired his brain. And, he got introduced to a Navy SEAL. There's lots of players, lots of people who have brain trauma, or if you had trauma in your childhood, this is a different type. It's not drugs. It's a different type of medicine that goes into it. And he says it's changed his life. And he's going to come on. We're going to talk about it in a bit. But he was in such great spirits. And he's like, man, like, I walk around, and for a long time, like, when I saw colors, it was just like, it was kind of hazy. And now he's like, man, when I see reds, like, they're reds, and the greens are greens. And he's in a great place. And, we talked about Bruce for a bit, and he's like, man, it's really sad. Bruce was like his second father to him. And that's, it's why he came in. So he was, but it's great to see how such great spirits he's in. He's looking great. He says, man, he's slimmed right down. Not that he was ever a big guy at all, but he's just, he's just healthier. Just feels great. Says, he goes, if you ask my wife, it'd be like a different person. Like, I'm not angry. Right, like, and he talked about a lot of stuff that he had got to go over, because when he left hockey, he kind of left it very quietly. And, he didn't, it's weird, but he didn't get a goodbye in hockey. And you know what? That was one of the elements, but it was more the concussion stuff. Like, he was really suffering from, post-concussion syndrome at different times. So it's good. And it was great to see him. And, anybody who's going to the Bruce Saville funeral tomorrow will like celebration of life, I should say. We'll run into him. So we got a loaded show for you today. Can't wait. Rick Westhead, Lorianne Munzer, Nattie Neidhart, Craig Button, Tyson Berry, Ed Hervey, Speck, Low Tide. We'll probably replay the Connor McDavid interview based on the initial text that we got. And now we did. Hey guys, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Thank you, Hat Trick Swayze. That's the line. Exactly. Right? It's true. We don't know. It's very true. When you're in it, it's a great place to be. I can tell you right now, Connor Halley, what wasn't the good old times was that NFL football game yesterday. What an absolute, dog's breakfast. How bad that was.
I have to eat crow, Gregor, but I don't know which side to eat it from. Downplaying the Raiders or hyping up the Broncos. Either way, I was totally wrong about that one. Yeah, that was awful. Shout out to the Raiders. Probably could have found a way to win that football game going into Denver and doing so. And now the Broncos, they get the win. But you got to ask yourself some questions like Bo Nix. They need more from him. He's got to be better.
Yeah, it was awful. Awful. Quick break. When we come back, Rick West joins us on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
It's week 1 of Canadian Tire's early Black Friday sale.
These prices won't go lower this year. Lower, you say?
Save up to 50 November 6th. Conditions apply. Details online.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Northwest Crane, available for all your lifting and equipment needs, specializing in selling and servicing cranes. Get lifting at northwestcrane.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:20. Welcome back. Pause of Friday. Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Dan opens it up a $200 bid for the pair of seats tomorrow night to see McDavid, Draisaitl, McCarr, McKinnon front. Hey, you got great seats. Lower bowl where the Oilers attacked twice on Saturday night. Two of the two fastest teams in the NHL. So it's a great deal for Dan. If you want in, 833-401-1440. You can text or call that number, and we'll raise money for the Gregor Foundation as we're planning ahead for the kids. Now, hey, thankfully they're back in school, and we're going to get them some grad suits for those who can't afford it for the upcoming year. Now we're going to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. They are 53 years as one of the most diversified electrical contractors in Alberta, and they are hiring right now, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year electricians. That's you. Maybe you know someone, one's word for a great company, great opportunity. Send your resume, careers@actionelectrical.net. And we go in the room today, very fitting, as we are joined by Rick Westhead, of course, one of the best investigative journalists in the country. Has got a new book come out, We Breed Lions, A Journey into the Heart of Hockey's Reckoning. And, it talks about the triumphs of Canadian hockey, as well as its toxicity and the capacity for change. And Rick joins us now. Rick, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thanks.
Rick, I read the book, and I thought it was very well done because I saw online people like, oh, you're only talking about the bad things in hockey. I'm like, well, no, read the book. There are like, I know that you'd put it out there the other day. It was one of the titles and talked about how, making a reference to how some hockey teams treat hotel rooms. And I think that's true. And at the same time, I'm reading that. I'm like, yeah, but I know as a coach in U13, that's unacceptable. And we don't do that. And the kids have a great time. So like anything in society, we have good and bad. And in hockey, we're going to have good and bad. And I thought the book wasn't just about the bad. It does talk about the good of it. And I really like the capacity for change factor. How do you think it happens?
Well, I think, first of all, thanks for having me on to talk about this for a bit, because you're right. Hockey is an amazing game. I love it. I play it 3 or 4 times a week. Some of the best friends I have are through hockey. I coached my son playing hockey all through minor hockey when he was fighting cancer in the middle of the pandemic. Our hockey community was there for us every day. But, Jason, 2 things can be true. You can have a sport that's so amazing, and you can still have so deeply entrenched systemic problems, the kind of problems that Sheldon Kennedy, even up till today, says are real and current. So, I think what this takes to change is a commitment from minor hockey and junior hockey organizations to, really face some uncomfortable truths and do it differently. One example of that, I was in Hamilton, Ontario, and watched the Hamilton Steel AAA program and the Hamilton Huskies program. They've partnered with an organization called Coaching Boys into Men. And so the hockey coaches there with 16 different teams are getting training about how to talk to their players about issues of consent and healthy masculinity, basically how to treat each other like humans. And I sat in on some of these talks with kids who aren't even teenagers yet and just was blown away at how much the kids actually wanted to talk about this. And it made me wonder, where else are they having these kinds of conversations? Are the parents talking to them about this? And of course they should, but many parents simply don't talk to their kids about issues of consent, just they don't. Are they happening in school, these conversations? And I think the answer there is no as well. So maybe hockey has the capacity to be kind of part of our society where we really are, through the sport, helping young boys become the best versions of themselves as they turn into young men.
I think that's well said, because I think people at times they get defensive. I understand they're like, oh, they're attacking my game. I love my game, and we got a lot of problems in society, and I agree. But there's lots of people that follow hockey, and so why not be the leader? Why not just sit back and say, well, it's other places, so it doesn't mean we have to clean up your own backyard, but then be the leader so it spreads out. And I think that's what hockey has the capacity to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there will be people who say, well, this is not a hockey problem, it's a societal problem. And there's truth in that. But you know what? When we see issues like this, imagine going through the stuff at Michigan State with Larry Nassar and having people say, I don't want to focus on Larry Nassar. Let's just talk about all the good coaches at Michigan State, or the football program at Penn State with Jerry Sandusky. I don't want to talk about that. Let's just talk about all the good, right? Like, we have to confront these things, because if we don't, they keep happening. And we've been here before. When Sheldon Kennedy came out with his story in the 1990s, Jason, there were so many promises of reform. It can never happen again, both from hockey organizations and from different levels of our government. And guess what? The news cycle moved on. The story and promises got forgotten. And it wasn't long before there were, other instances of abuse in junior hockey that maybe with better screening processes, maybe if the promises had been followed through on, maybe some of those might have been avoided.
Well, I remember when Sheldon, like, the amount of pushback, and sadly it still exists today, right? It takes a lot of courage to want to stand up and push back against something that is deeply ingrained in society and in some dressing rooms in hockey.
Yeah, sure. But this is also, that's part of the bargain, right? I don't worry about the blowback. Sheldon Kennedy says there are systemic issues now, and he has the receipts to back it up, and the book documents that. If you want to disagree with me, fine. If you want to disagree with Sheldon Kennedy, fine.
Yeah.
Again, this is how it goes. It reminds me a little bit of back in 2001. And at the time, the Boston Globe blew the lid off of this scandal within the Catholic Church in that city.
Yes.
They reported extensively about how priests were being moved around between parishes after they were accused of sexually assaulting children. And the response was not from the church, was not to say, you're right, we've got to fix this immediately. The immediate response, if you go back and look at the news coverage, one of the most prominent members of the church, a cardinal in Boston, called for the wrath of God to come down on the media. You know, there were others within the community that said, why do you have to focus on the bad stories? Why can't we talk about all the good that the church does? Does this sound familiar?
Oh, yes. 100%. Yes, you can. Two things can happen at the same time. There can be lots of good people in hockey and still lots of systemic bad problems that need to be discussed.
Yeah. And these players, listen, these are not only historical problems. And by the way, I'm not writing this book because I was cut from any minor hockey team when I was a kid. But listen, the truth is the stories are current. I made a point to interview. I reached out to more than 200 players on Instagram who'd played who'd been drafted into the Canadian Hockey League within the last 10 years. And of those players, I interviewed 58. And those 58 players, the kind of the line through all of their stories was how much they love the game, but all of them, to a person, identified cultural issues off the ice that were challenging. You know, this pressure to conform, you know, the pressure, what does it mean to be a 14, 15, 16-year-old boy moving away from your parents into a billet home hundreds of kilometers away and playing on a team where there are 20-year-olds or older? Yeah. Right? That pressure to be accepted in that room is intense, and the players were really candid about it with me.
Yeah, well, I could imagine that because, you know, if you have a good room and a good leader, it can be great. If you don't, like, what's your options at that point as a 16-year-old?
No, and you said it. And there are players, you've read the book, you know, there are players in this book that say that thank God they wound up with a team where the leaders in the room were people who made good decisions. Yeah. But you know, there are also cases where that doesn't happen. And here's the problem: far too often, when there are issues like this, the people who are in charge of these hockey programs, who tend to be former hockey players themselves, the immediate response is all about brand reputation, right? Protect the crest. Protect the name of the organization. And we saw that all the way up till Hockey Canada. It's only because of the journalism over the last couple of years that we've learned that Hockey Canada, for decades, maintained this secret slush fund that was used to pay off sexual assault allegations. And that slush fund was built using minor hockey registrations without parents being told where that money was going, right? So from top down, the response through the years has been to keep things quiet, to turn to non-disclosure agreements, etc. And I think we're at a point now where there's a number of people who want to talk about this and want to fix this game because it's a great game that should be made as safe as it can be so that parents, when they're dropping their kids off at the rink, know, hey, I have every confidence that these teams are doing everything they can to make my kids safe.
Rick Westhead joins us. If you want to read his book, you can get it now. It's called We Breed Lions. It's an in-depth look into hockey's culture. You know, it does talk about the great parts of it, but just isn't blind to the areas that need to improve. And Rick, I coach U13. I can tell you, I'm at that point where, you know what, you want the dressing room. I remember when I played, you know, boys joke around, and luckily I never played in an environment that I never had any negative experiences in my life. You know, the worst hazing that I remember was they were gonna shave your pubes at the time, and I fought back, and luckily one of our leaders on the team said, "We ain't doing that. It's over," and that was the end of it. And looking back, I was like, nowadays it's funny because half of society publicly grooms themselves anyway. So I look and say, you know what? Hey, maybe they're ahead of their time. I say jokingly, but luckily I never had to go through anything bad. But I'm aware that lots of people did. I've talked to lots of guys who have, and it's not good. And I think we're naive to think it doesn't happen because we just saw a case of it in Ontario that happened here. Like it still exists. What in all your conversations, and you talk to lots of different communities, whether it's hockey, any sport really, it doesn't have to be hockey. I think in any dressing room, what's the best way to address it and monitor it so it doesn't happen in your team?
Well, I mean, I think you've got to get buy-in from the coaches that this is a real problem. right? Like one of the stories in this book that I talk about is with a player named Marcus Patterson who played Junior A in Ontario. And he sat down in a restaurant with his father and me, and for the first time told his dad that in the 2019 season when he played Junior A, that he had to go through the hot box. So for people who don't know, this is where, your first year players, you're on a road trip together early in the season, and somebody taps the first year guys on the shoulders, says, go to the back of the bus. And when they get there, they're told to strip. And after they strip, they're told to get in the bathroom. So you have 5 or 6, 16, 17-year-olds jammed together in this bathroom. The lights are turned off. There's some coins thrown through a vent, and they're told you can't get out of there until you give us this exact, amount of money back. Well, don't tell me that those sorts of things are happening without the knowledge of the coach who's sitting like 10 or 15 rows away, right? So the first thing we have to do is really have coaches understand that this is unacceptable. And by the way, like, Jason, what's your perspective on this? Like, in what way is that hot box experience team building? How does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny because I can say I actually was on, I remember in junior football, they had it for rookies. What they had to do was they fit the, 3-4 rookies in the bathroom and they had their underwear on, but they had to try to get dressed in there. And that was it. Like nothing bad. And the players kind of laughed because you had to work as a team to try to get one guy dressed. And once he was dressed, then you could have the other guy dressed. But there was nothing like derogatory. There's no touching, nothing like that. And that to me, players kind of thought it was fun because you had to work as a team to figure it out because you didn't have a lot of space and how you would help Bob get his shirt on while you were trying to, pull your sweatpants on. So I think there are things you can do. Yes. But the hot boxing one is, I've heard way worse stories. I remember the puck on the string and stupid things like that. So, and I do think coaches I think the problem is, and especially now with phones, like on my team, phones aren't allowed in the room. And I know a lot of associations have banned them because I know adults do stupid stuff with phones. We think that young boys whose frontal lobe isn't fully developed are going to make good decisions if you put them in a pack mentality in the room. They're going to look at stuff that they shouldn't be looking at. They're going to say stuff, and it's going to lead to more problems.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. It is going to lead to more problems. But the other challenging part of this is just getting people to be willing to talk about it. It's so uncomfortable. It's an unpleasant topic. Like, look around. You tell me how many media who cover hockey want to have these kinds of conversations, want to talk about what happened in the trial, want to ask players, hey, what's your perspective on taking consent videos after you saw what happened at the trial in London? Do you see any media that really want to tackle this and take that on?
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm with you, Rick. I've talked, people get upset. A lot of times in human nature, and I know the adage is, well, it's sports and sports is my escape. And I'm like, well, I understand that, but you can't escape if people are getting abused physically, sexually, emotionally. If we escape it, it just becomes more of a problem. And it's not talking about it once isn't going to fix it. That's the challenge here. It has to be ongoing. And like, do you think Hockey Canada, who's at the top, who oversees everything, will actually do enough to start the change?
I think there's work to do there. Like right now, you mentioned a story I did last week about, this situation with a minor hockey team in Ontario. Mm-hmm. It was a AA U14 team where the coaches were supposed to be in the room as per Hockey Canada policy, but they weren't. And so what happened was it was sort of Lord of the Flies in there. And you had players watching the door to make sure nobody was coming in. And then you had some guys like holding down their teammates, pulling down their pants, pulling down their underwear, taking pictures of their genitals and posting it on the group chat. A group chat that was filled with racist and homophobic slurs. So ultimately, the coach of that team was suspended for 6 months. And Hockey Canada, still to this day, has made the choice to keep those sorts of sanctions secret. And other organizations like Athletics Canada, like Gymnastics Canada, even provincial federations like the Ontario Volleyball Association believe that it's in the public interest to make this public. They believe that that a parent's right to know if they're dropping their kids off with somebody who's been suspended for months for misconduct, that right is more important than the worry that you might get sued by somebody for publishing their name because they've done something that has seen them get suspended for so long. So you asked me like, where are we, what's to do, or where do we go from here? I think Hockey Canada's board, and I think it's part of the role of journalists to hold that organization accountable, to answer questions about how you justify keeping that kind of information secret from Canadians still.
Rick, in the writing of the book, and I don't like to go too in depth because I want people to read the book. I really like the book. I highly recommend. I think every coach, I don't care what level you coach at, because you might be coaching U9 now, but if you want to keep growing as a coach, you're going to be coaching U13. So you want to prepare yourself for it. I recommend every coach of any sport should read this, because there's lots I learned to say, okay, you know what? Maybe I got to ask myself, look in the mirror. Am I doing this right? Am I making sure? And I'm pretty adamant with my coaches. I have team meetings all the time. This is what we do. And you set the boundary for your players. And I want the boys to have fun. Like, you can still have fun, right, with just having guidelines. And I think it helps. But when you wrote all this, was there anything, and you've been doing this for a long time, was there anything that you uncovered that surprised you while writing this book?
Oh boy. I mean, I guess one of the things that surprised me was just how willing players were to talk to me about this, right? Like, Curtis Gabriel, a former NHL player, willing to put his name next to his story, which is about the pressure he felt as a first-year junior player to have sex, and about how commoditized, how much of a transaction that was. And he told me about just the how often the conversations are, and the pressure that players are under that way. And he talked about what that has meant to him over the years, how that has affected him mentally. And he wasn't the only one. There are so many stories in here from players who are on the record. And I think maybe that's one of the things that surprised me the most, was that this is not a book that's full of pseudonyms and players who are like, don't use my name. It surprised me how many men I talked to who said, this has got to change, and it's going to add to the credibility of this reporting if you include my name in this, and please do it.
Well, that to me, like that's the part of this. Like, I look at Hockey Canada, and that coach gets suspended for 6 months. That just bothers me. I'm like, what do you mean 6 months? Like, I think it should be a multi-year suspension. And because that's a right and it's a privilege to be able to be a minor coach. And if you don't take it serious, then you shouldn't have the right to do it. That's just my thoughts on it. And when I saw that suspension, I kind of was like, oh God, like, you know what? Does the person even learn from it? All right. And do they have to take some courses before they come back in, to be able to coach again? Right. Just because to be suspended and not have to do anything about it, I'm not sure you actually learn from it. Right. Like, would Hockey Canada have that type of power? Because I know they have some coaching things like respect in sport. And you got to do all that stuff online. We could have a whole discussion, how beneficial some of those things are. But do you think Hockey Canada and volleyball and basketball and any of these other sports, could they have a stronger hand in discipline?
I think so. And I think it's on the government, because these organizations receive our money, because they receive taxpayer dollars. Our government, our federal government, and our provincial governments, for provincial federations, they have leverage here. They have the leverage to say, hey, if you want to keep getting a handout from the government every year, these are the policies that you have to introduce. And just so we're clear, I'm not talking about, every coach who's slipped up and used the F word in a practice or something like that. I'm not saying like name and shame everything like that, but there has to be, in my mind, some threshold where if you've acted in a way that, and I don't know what the line is. Like, let's leave this to people who are smarter than I am on this topic.
Okay.
But there should be some division between saying, hey, this coach swore during a practice,
yes,
as opposed to somebody who has, been clearly negligent, right?
Yes.
And I think that's an important distinction to make too.
Well, hey, it's funny you say that, Rick, because when we look in society, I believe one of our biggest problems now is we've made everything sexual assault. They don't use rape anymore. They don't use that term. And where if someone slaps me on the butt, that's sexual assault compared to raping someone. And I think they're two very different things. And I think by putting it all in one, you weaken the worst, right? It softens people to the worst part of it. And so I agree with you on this. You can't, hey, you swear as a coach, you shouldn't, 100%. But that's very different than allowing, physical or verbal abuse going on in your dressing room. They're two totally different things. And I hope that they do have those type of limitate and just be very specific. This is what happened, right? And honestly, if a coach swears once, any parent out there is like, okay, hands up if I've never sworn in front of my kids accidentally. If you have, you're a way better parent than I am, because
I was going to say, I think as well, like hockey has to figure this out. Right? We keep talking about how Canada, our demographics of our country is changing. It's already changed. Like, take a look at the numbers, right, of new Canadians and what our country, who makes up our country now. Look at sports like soccer and basketball and volleyball, right? There are a lot of choices that parents have. And the number of folks, one of the other things I talk about in this book that we haven't touched on yet is the commercialization of minor hockey, right? Look how expensive, if your kid is playing elite AAA hockey, parents know how many thousands of dollars that takes every year for everything from, coaches for edge work to, shooting to, like all of the different things. It can be a money pit. And so hockey has to figure this out, because we've got the World Cup coming next year. Soccer's already super popular, and it's only going to get more popular. There's a lot of competition, that hockey's facing now.
Rick, fantastic book. I really appreciate it, and I couldn't recommend it more to anybody who's definitely a parent, but you're a coach, because you're a little bit more of a position of influence and power in minor sports. And there's lots of good things to take away as a coach to ensure that you're doing your best, that these type of things don't happen in under your watch. So great job.
Yeah, great interview. Thanks, Jason.
That is Rick Westhead. I recommend the book, We Breed Lions, A Journey into the Heart of Hockey's Reckoning. I know we've got some texts. Gregor, why do we only hear about this? Well, first of all, it's not always, guys. We have Rick on the show like 4 times a year. We have 20 hours a week. So Rick's on for maybe 1 hour a year, like at most. Come on. Don't pretend we talk about this all the time. You can't be shy about it. Do you want your son or daughter to be on the receiving end? Yes or no? If the answer is no, then we have to discuss it. Because I don't know anybody who's like, oh, no, I want my son and daughter to be bullied, to be assaulted. That would be awesome. No one thinks that. Quick break. We'll return. And by the way, we do have I have another book coming out, author, but it'll be fun for our wrestling fans. And really inspiring story from Nattie Neidhart. Lots of stuff I knew nothing about when I read her book. And honestly, I read it in 2 days. It was a great book. I couldn't put it down. I loved it. So Nattie's coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. But first, Lorianne Munzer joins us next. And the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready. I'm not just here to make a thermo a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom. I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
What's not to love? With no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year.
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
Don't look now, but I think we're being followed.
Oh, that's just my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Well, they're driving pretty close.
Because they're attached.
Save up to 15% on select tires until December 13th.
Cool.
Plus, get up to $125 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires.
Anything else?
Get $50 off a $150 service when you buy those tires.
Well, that's handy.
Yep.
And weird.
Well, I love my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Book your appointment online today. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Your all-access pass to the world of sports is Edmonton's only sports radio station.
From pre- and post-game hockey shows to in-depth analysis from your favorite commentators, the action never stops on Sports 1440.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I've got to get 2 cheeseburgers, medium fries, and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. Hey, maybe I'll eat 1 cheeseburger right away and save 1 for later. Maybe I'll stack them and eat them both at once. Options. Oh, delicious, delicious options.
So 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a 2 cheeseburger meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian and 69-cent wings. Plus, play, score, and win every game. See more at OnTheRocksYEG.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Paulie's up to $400 now on the tickets, orders, and the Avalanche. Tomorrow night, we'll end this by 4 o'clock today. So just so you know, if you want in, you got an hour and 10 minutes. 833-401-1440. 2 lower bowl seats for the orders and the Avs tomorrow night. David, McKinnon, Makar, Draisaitl. Man, there's a lot of skill on the ice. It's a Saturday night. Both teams haven't played since Tuesday. They'll be well rested. Should be ready to go. Should be a fun, fast-paced game. Now let's go in the mind. Lori Ann Munns, of course, Olympic gold medalist. She's also a mental coach. Lori Ann, how you doing?
Doing awesome. Happy Friday, Jason. How are you?
I am very good. And we just had Rick Westhead on, and I'm actually going to have Nattie Neidhart on, and she actually talked about, it was very interesting. I would recommend you read her book. She was very raw in the book. It's not just about wrestling. Obviously, that's what she does, but a lot of it was about, the challenges of self-doubt and questioning yourself at times. And that's something that I think happens in a lot of walks of life. And really, it was interesting because, where she grew up in her family, it was like you're in a real big family, and you had to be a real big personality, or you were just kind of quiet and you just kind of fit in. And that's how it went. And that's really how it is sometimes in a dressing room on any type of team, even maybe if you're on a cycling team where, some people are a little bit more outgoing, others are a little bit quieter. And depending on your personality, some fit better in certain ways. When you talk to athletes about fitting in, how important is that aspect to have success in athletics?
Oh my goodness, Jason. It's a loaded one, really, because fitting in means different things for different athletes. It depends on your age. It depends on the team. It depends on, are you a winning team? Are you kind of a come from behind team? Or are you like last, always picked, that sort of thing? And it's just, where are you? And I call it self-identity, or it's just identity, because we all have an identity, but then there's the identity that we're supposed to be in the limelight, right? So like when you're racing, when you're off the track, or you're, out of the rink, that sort of thing. And we're not taught that we really, we have 2 identities. We have an inner one we hold, the real us. We have an outer one when we're in and around people. And sometimes there's that conflict between, well, who am I supposed to be? Because it's not that we're afraid of the dark, as you say, we're afraid of the light, of our greatness, of being successful. And what is it that you're going to do? What do you want to do? And the problem is, we don't know who we are because we spend more time talking about other people, thinking about other people, than going, well, how am I wired? And I love using the word wired, because sometimes, people with ADHD or neurodivergent people, we got a couple wires crossed, and we do things differently, right? We do things faster. Some things we don't get. There's empathy, there's forward thinking, there's a ton of things going on. And a lot of the time it's always, well, look at the media, look what's going on. This person has tons of money, they're going out, and sometimes it's just a smokescreen. I remember I was living on a shoestring budget, $16,000 a year. I probably worked 2/3 of the year. And I'm seeing all the national team riders that are doing really great stuff. And I'm going, I don't even have 5 nickels or a couple bucks to put together to call home when we're in France. And then you just go, well, the self-image, the self-doubt creeps in really fast. It affects your performances, and there's nobody there when I was racing to talk about this, because you're not supposed to show that you're weak. You have to be strong, and you have to be, the German machine, right? You can't break down. Plus, if you're older, then it's like, well, what do? It's like, here's all these up and coming kids. They live at home. They've got support. They have sponsorship. Everybody's situation is different, but the mental aspect of it is, who do you think you are? And who do you really want to be? And we never stop press pause, just like Connor said, well, now he can think maybe a little bit more about those wins, those milestones. But as athletes, it's always what's next? What's next? We heard Summer McIntosh talk when she was like on a roll there. And it was like, well, what's next? What's next? And I'm thinking, my God, woman, like press pause, enjoy these moments. I know she's going to have more of them because she's only 18, but enjoy those moments when you're in them because they go by so fast.
Well, they definitely do. And it is hard. And it's hard because some people feel like, well, if you enjoy, it's like people in hockey, like look at baseball, they celebrate too much. Like somehow celebrating too much means, well, if I celebrate on Wednesday, it means by Friday, I'm not going to be serious anymore. It's not the case at all. Like you're a mental coach. We probably should celebrate the steps along the goal more often to remind us of why you're doing all the hard work.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the crazy point is that people go, no, you can only celebrate when you do the big win because one, you can jinx yourself, or no, we're not supposed to do that. But it's like, no, celebrate those moments. And it's not that you're not going to make it, but enjoy those moments, be in the moment, share in it. And I remember being at the Commonwealth Games. I set a Commonwealth Games record in Manchester, England. Had won a silver medal, then won a bronze medal. And I'm sitting in the phone area all by myself because there was nobody there to celebrate. And then because of the time change, everybody was sleeping. So here I am sitting by myself going, wow, I did all these great things and nobody to share them with. It was like, that was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, well, 100%. The other thing I asked Connor McDavid about was just, you go through that and you try to remember. And he says, you know what? Yeah, I'm probably not good enough as I should be. Is that something that young athletes should be taught more of? Right? Is there any, have you, you're in that mental realm. Is there any conversations going on at any level to remind people like, hey, you know what? Like, it's okay to celebrate yourself during the process.
Yeah. And it should start right from the little leagues, right straight up to Blue Jays, Oilers, Olympics, everything. And it's something that isn't talked about. Sometimes a lot of people will think that, well, if you talk about it, you're egotistical, you're conceited. And that's not necessarily the case. There is that persona, oh, I have to be really big and loud to be heard and to make a mark. And I can't show how weak I am underneath, but it's just those little milestones. I remember playing baseball up at the cottage during the summer when I was probably 12, 13 years old. And after every game, and I know you're going to relate to this, Jason, we went out to Dairy Queen. It was a really, really small town. But after every game, we celebrated by going to Dairy Queen. And it was just one of those team bonding moments. We got to relive some of the plays. We got to figure out, well, where could we pull up our socks and pick up our gloves and ball a little faster? But those are the moments. It's not just for the big day, the big game, the big race. It's for all of the individual milestones. And it could even be for some of the training sessions. Hey, you made some great drills. You made some great passes. You were able to motivate and help another player from a leadership point of view. And those are the milestones I think we should be celebrating.
Lori-Ann Munzer joins us. The other challenge in a long season and is now, we're past the part of a slow start. You're into game 15 now. You're into coming up on like 18% of the season, which is a pretty big number at the end of the day. And, you want to try to go think the Oilers, for whatever reason, for 3 consecutive seasons have been a slow starting team. And at times they've looked uninspired. Their head coach said today, like in the playoffs and the big moments, we've shown our focus that we can do it, and we haven't yet. And I understand that you can't manufacture playoff intensity in November. It's impossible because the building isn't as loud. Everybody knows the games aren't as meaningful. I understand it, but you have to get to that level. So how do you do it? How do you pull yourself out of the muck when you haven't been able to have a focused intensity?
Well, this is where I disagree with the media. 15 games in, 82 games a season, I believe. Every game should be like the championship game. And we've talked about this before, is you've got to go in and bring your best every game, every time, because it's practice, 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 which is repetition. The only way you're going to get better, Jason, from a mental standpoint, because physically all of the players are probably 1, 2, maybe 3% apart from each other, is what is between your ears. And you need to level up. You need to be able to play your game backwards, forwards, like you were talking yesterday, I think, with Spec, and it was about the guys who have 20, 22 minutes in the NHL, and then the guys who come over. I think you were talking about the Swedes, and they're like 9, 10 minutes, and you can't really make that great of a contribution. So what do? You have to play the mental game, even when you're on the bench, of going, okay, how would I, if I was in that position of, where Bouchard is, or Draisaitl, or Connor, or whoever is playing, what would I do to counter it? What would I do to set them up? What would I do so that I could be set up to contribute to the team? And you've got to play those games forward and backwards. In hockey, you have so many more options, where in track cycling, when you're sprinting, you have one strategy leading, you have a different strategy following, and then when your plan goes all to heck in a handbasket, you got to pull out your power card and just go. So in hockey, you're going to have a lot more scenarios and options of, okay, what are all the possibilities? If you can figure out what every possibility is, you are the master chess person in your mind, that when you get on the ice and the puck comes to you, or you've got the puck and you have to shoot it, your mind has already done it. It's already seen it. So it's like it's already real, so that when it happens, boom, you're prepared, and you're not going to flop. You're not going to miss, the shot or the ball or the move. And that is when games are won. But you have to do it every day, every game. It's not, just when we get to the playoffs.
True, but it's hard to bring it every night. You can try, but because the Oilers, the thing is, they've had 6 games where they were leading by 2 goals and blew it. So they did do it, and then suddenly it fell apart, which was
absolutely. The other part for that one, Jason, is you have to keep both your feet on the gas, because invariably one foot's going to come off the gas pedal, and either you're going to have nothing on the gas pedal, or you can still squeak in. If you are giving your best, and sometimes your best is not going to be your best. We all go through that rhythm. There's going to be high games, great games, medium games, low games, and then you are just not on no matter what you do. But again, it's like when you were talking with Connor, was press the pause button, take a moment, look where you are. What is your intention? What are your expectations? And are you willing to put everything on the line? That's where champions are made. And it's made every day.
Lorianne, thanks for this. As always, have a great trip. We'll talk to you in a few weeks.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jason.
It's Lorianne Munzer, Olympic gold medalist. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
A light night on the ice, just 4 games at the NHL level. Rangers and Red Wings, Islanders host the Wild, Blackhawks taking on the Flames, and it's the Sharks up against the Jets, and the Association. Toronto Raptors are in action in Atlanta, taking on the Hawks. That one gets going just after 5:30. Elsewhere, Celtics taking on the Magic. Spurs host the Rockets. Hornets in Miami. Bears host the Mavs and the Bulls taking on the Bucks. In the WHL, the Oil Kings on the road in Medicine Hat. Puck drop at 7. BCHL, Spruce Groves in Vernon at 8. At 7, the Crusaders will host Cranbrook. And in the AJ, you've got 5 games tonight, including Kodiaks and Whiteport, and Bonnyville hosting the Lloydminster Bobcats. Golden Bears hockey, they'll host Mount Royal at 7. Pandas in Calgary taking on Mount Royal. They'll swap cities tomorrow night. Griffin men's hockey hosting UBC tonight at 7 o'clock. Griffin's on the road taking on UBC as well at 8. And at the Saddle Center this weekend, you've got Golden Bears and Pandas volleyball with Fraser Valley in town. The action is going tonight at 6, tomorrow at 5. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by pro wrestler and author Nattie Neidhart, also TSN's Craig Button, and former Oilers defenseman Tyson Barrie. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
And here comes Action Electrical service team sprinting onto the scene.
These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI. Custom Floors, Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
The Hockey Super League is proud to launch its 9th season, delivering independent, borderless hockey. This year, over 125 teams will compete across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and for the first time ever, Colorado, USA, with showcase style action, cross-province rivalries, and a strong commitment to player development. The HSL is the premier destination for families seeking balance and athletes chasing the next level. The Hockey Super League. Hockey without limits. For athletes born in 2013 to 2018. Visit hockeysuperleague.com to learn more.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance. When you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I'll just introduce you after here. Positive Friday. How are you? Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of PlayAlberta.ca. And remember, Lotto Max tonight. Maybe you're feeling lucky. Remember our deal. If you win, you invite us to the party. If we win, we invite you. It's pretty simple. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca for Lotto Max, a cool 15 mil up for grabs tonight. Now we're going to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. Book your ride today at silentrides.ca. And very excited to have our next guest on the show. She is the longest serving woman wrestler in WWE history. Of course, she just wrote a book, Last Hart Standing, H-A-R-T, for all of you wrestling fans. You know, the Stu Hart and all the way down to her uncles, the Hart brothers. Of course, her father is Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And I the one thing I learned in the book, I learned how he got his nickname. I never knew it until the book. So it's a great little tidbit that is in the book. It was a fantastic read. And to be honest, you know me, I love reading books. I read books all the time. And I had no really idea what the book was about. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was much more about than wrestling and was incredibly authentic and very vulnerable. And I very much enjoyed it. And we welcomed to the show the author, the star of WWE, Nattie Neidhart. Nattie, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I really enjoyed the book, Nattie. Like I get books. I'm a big reader, so I read tons of books, and I like true story books. So I'm not a big fiction guy, to be honest. So, but I've read lots of different athlete books, but yours I found was very different. It was extremely vulnerable. You weren't afraid to talk about the parts of you that like your insecurities and at different times, from a childhood, and you talked very openly, about your childhood and your father's addiction. And it drew me in instantly, and it was a very easy read. So I commend you, first of all, just for that. I think it's hard sometimes for people to put themselves out there for everybody to kind of see yourself exposed.
No, that's, I really thank you so much for reading the book, first of all, because anybody that's taken the time to read it, I just appreciate it. The most valuable thing that any of us can give each other is time. And I know that reading a book is a commitment, but I wanted the book to be a really easy read. And I think that's something that, like, I didn't want any reader getting left behind, because this day and age, not everybody reads books. People taking their information differently. A lot of people, do audiobooks or, like, it's just everybody takes it in differently. So when I wrote the book, I wanted it to be very easy. And I think people are really seeing a reflection of themselves in the book in some way, shape, or form. And what I'm getting more than anything from people finishing the book is they're saying, hey, this book was like, it's more than just a book about wrestling. It's a book about healing. And it'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It might make you a little pissed off. It might make you sad a little bit. It'll make you feel hope, but it'll help you in your healing journey. And that was a big part of writing the book for me, that I was like, okay, a lot of this is probably deeper than I need to go, deeper than I wanted to go. But at some point in time, if I can help somebody else on their journey to heal and to be a better person, or to feel better about themselves, or to grow in some way, it's all worth it.
Now I want to get to some of the wrestling part, because I was a huge Stampede Wrestling fan. Like, did you have, excluding family members? So I want to get them, because that's, obviously that's hard to pick. It's like asking who's your favorite kid. Did you have like a favorite non-family wrestler when you grew up?
Yes. I mean, listen, growing up around wrestling, there was a couple that I loved. I was a big Shawn Michaels fan. I loved the Rockers when I was growing up, like Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Whenever they would wrestle against my dad and Bret Hart, my sisters and I, like, we just both, like, my little sister Muffy and I had a crush on. She liked Marty Jannetty. I liked Shawn Michaels. Macho Man was another one that I like. I loved his colorful costumes, the sequins. I loved Miss Elizabeth. I thought Miss Elizabeth was like the most beautiful woman in the world. And I remember when we were kids, I wrote about this in the book, but when we were kids growing up, when she would come over to our house and have tea with my mom, and Randy would visit with my dad, I was always just like mesmerized. Brutus the Barber Beefcake was another one. He was a good friend of my dad's, but he was just like he was a fixture in our house. Hawk from the Legion of Doom, Iron Sheik, like, these were, again, Rick Rude. They were characters in my childhood, which I had the pleasure of writing about. So many names to mention, but yeah, I had a very colorful childhood with a lot of cool wrestlers involved.
Yeah. Well, I actually had Gama Singh from Stampede Wrestling fame in the early days of WWE. He was just in because they had a big documentary about him. And so,
yes, I saw that.
Yeah. And it was actually very good. And the Cuban Assassin was the wrestler that I liked when I was a kid. And I know that's probably maybe a little bit before your time. I think it is.
Yes, I know who that is, though.
Yeah. And so when I read the book, it was great, to see I never knew that your grandfather, started out in Tollfield. My farm is literally about 25 minutes from Tollfield. So I know exactly.
Wow.
I'm just like, okay, so now I'm connected for sure to the book. And there's a lot of people who like Stampede Wrestling, I think, would like that. Then they grew up into WWE, but I'd never seen a picture of the Hart House. And I've heard all the stories. And that was actually the thing I liked. I know it sounds like a very simple thing, but I think there's lots of people who have followed wrestling that have never seen the house. And to see the house in the ring, which might seem like a very simple thing, like, I was just like, oh, now I can visualize it. Right. But the only thing was the dungeon. Like, I've heard about the dungeon. How often did you wrestle in the dungeon?
All the time. It was where I learned how to wrestle. It was the very first place that I wrestled. And it was just a little room in my grandfather's basement. And there was a little set of steps that would lead into this little door. And then you take a right and you're right in the dungeon. And the room was just a small little room with holes in the ceilings from people's heads going through the ceiling, literally. And it had wooden walls and a couple windows that you could look out, like 2 little windows. And it was a dirty old mat. And my grandfather, I mean, It was not fancy. It was really, really cool though. But my grandfather trained some of the greatest professional wrestlers in the world in the dungeon. So I was down there all the time, multiple times a week, especially when I first started taking my first bumps in wrestling. My first, we in pro wrestling we call them bumps, but like when I first started getting body slammed, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it was the dungeon was a very special place. But now my husband and I actually we have our own dungeon, and we've tried to replicate what my grandfather started back in the 50s, because the dungeon was started in the 50s by my grandfather, Stu Hart. So we have a place in Florida that it's a warehouse that's only big enough to hold a wrestling ring. And there's a bathroom, there's no air conditioning, and it's just, you got to come in and you got to bring your heart.
Okay. Nattie Neidhart joins us, of course, a WWE superstar, author of the book, The Last Heart Standing, from the dungeon to WWE. And it's a great journey. I kind of felt like I was along the journey with you, which I thought was amazing. Anytime you can have an author who feels like allows you to welcome into the journey, I'm like, okay, I think I know what's coming next. Or, oh, I was surprised that happened next. I'll be honest, like I'm a wrestling fan, not a diehard wrestling fan. And I didn't really understand the differences of the style of wrestling that you had in your career, like when you're in Canada and then when you're in WWE and then when you're in Japan and all that. And like the Japan story was probably the one really, Nattie, that I was like, wow, I never knew anything about that. And I understand it after reading it, like the culture shock, sure, but just how different it was. So you're obviously, you kind of grew up around wrestling. You're super passionate about it. Was it hard to learn to wrestle how they wrestled?
I mean, wrestling speaks a universal language. So in my book, The Last Heart Beating, I was able to talk about, the different styles, but at the end of the day, the wrestling, it's just wrestling speaks a universal language. So I went to Japan I was terrified when I first went to Japan. And then I, met the women there and connected with them and really bonded with them. And I was scared, but I also just knew I had to start somewhere. And that's a big message in the book, is like taking a chance on yourself, and that you can be really, you can be new at something, you can be nervous, and the style can be totally different. But at the end of the day, like I just had to dive in. I had to dive into all the things that I was afraid of. Even writing the book, Jason, it was really like I was intimidated to write a book. I was like, I had been putting it off for a long, long time. And then I was like, why not? You know what? Just do something that scares you. So when I was signing my brand new contract last June with WWE, this contract will actually take me to the end of by the end of this contract, I'll have been with WWE for 20 years, uninterrupted, which is unprecedented for a female in WWE to do that. And I just was like, it's time for me to take some risks. It's time for me to do some stuff that scares the shit out of me, excuse my language. And it's time for me to just like dive in and just get started, And so that's how I approached wrestling in Japan. That's how I approached wrestling in England. That's how I approached wrestling in Canada, in the US, in Mexico. It's scary, but you just gotta, sometimes in life, you just gotta do stuff that scares you, but that also sets your soul on fire, if that makes sense.
It does. Now, my apologies. I have the book right here, and for some reason, I read the title, and I still said,
"Oh, it's okay. No worries at all. It's a Freudian slip."
So my apologies for that. But you mentioned you had to overcome fear a lot, and really, a lot of your initial fear was you were just scared to say you liked wrestling. Why?
I mean, I was, for me, I was afraid of trying wrestling. I was afraid of failing. And I think when you're growing up in a male dominated industry, my grandfather, he didn't really encourage his daughters to wrestle or his granddaughters to wrestle. It was his sons. My grandfather had eight kids, 8 boys and 4 girls. He had 12 kids total, but his 8 boys all were wrestlers and his daughters all married wrestlers. But none of his daughters were wrestlers. So it was something in our family that was kind of like, no, the girls don't wrestle. The girls they can marry a wrestler, but my grandfather, I think, wanted to protect us girls emotionally because he also knew it was a tough industry. And didn't want us getting hurt emotionally, not to mention physically, because it's also a very physically demanding industry. So I think subconsciously, the more that I was being told no, the more that I wanted to do it, the more that I wanted to try it. And it really wrestling kind of became a drug for me. It was like an addiction. And once my first day in the dungeon, I never wanted to look back. I was like, this is so much fun. I just feel so stimulated and so challenged, but it's also really hard. Like you're falling down. Like with wrestling, it doesn't feel good. It feels like a little car accident.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I always like people like, oh yeah, wrestling's not a sport. I'm like, yeah, okay, we know that the endings are scripted, but anybody who doesn't know that now, then you're not paying attention. But the physical athleticism and the physical pain that goes, that's not fake. You can't fake a body slam, right? Like, man, I saw Mankind jumping off the top of the cage, and you're just like, what the hell are they doing? Like it's come to like levels, and you even talk about it in the book, like how coming off the top rope. Well, for us fans at home, it's like, geez, they make it look easy. Well, yeah, because you practice it over and over again. But it is how you describe some of the moves. I don't want to give too much of the book away because I want people to read it. But how you describe some of the moves made a lot of sense to someone who loves wrestling, but really didn't understand the technique part about it, right? Like learning how to be good at it, and also so you don't injure the person you're in the ring with. How did you? Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think anyone that you've ever fought, like maybe a broken nose once, right? But you've never had anybody that you've been with who gets injured, and that's rare in wrestling.
I mean, it's wrestling's very, very physical. I think people hurt more emotionally from wrestling than even physically, because in our industry, it's showbiz. You know, it's a lot of the times like you can work your ass off, and there's no guarantee that hard work is going to get you anywhere. I wish it was like that sometimes. I wish that you could, train all day long. And it's like when you look at the Olympics, if you're really, really, really good, if you're the best Olympic wrestler in the world, you're going to have a gold medal from it. With pro wrestling, it's hard because a lot of it is storyline driven, or a lot of other people are making decisions about your future. So it's actually very hard emotionally, but that's where you got to learn how to be really emotional. Like you have to have grit. My grandfather, Stu Hart, he had so much grit about him and so much common sense. And he always treated people with kindness, and he had so much integrity that, people really wanted to work with him. And so in the near 2 decades of working in WWE, I learned a lot about grit. I learned a lot about communication skills. I learned a lot about working with others. I've worked with over 65 different women, probably 70 women now. I mean, maybe even more, and in and out of WWE. And like, you just learn how to navigate through things. It's like, if you can survive the dungeon, which is where I started to learn how to wrestle, you can survive anything. And I think that my early years and that foundation that I built in the dungeon under my grandfather's name and his legacy, everything that he built, those early years taught me how to survive anything.
Nattie Neidhart, WWE superstar, author of the book, The Last Heart Beating. It's available now. I highly recommend it. It's a great book if you want to learn about wrestling, but also I think it's really good because, women's wrestling, as you talk about it, even from when you started until now, how much it's changed significantly. When you first started, you were kind of, begging for scraps to get 2 or 3 minutes on a show. And before, and it's real. And reading that, I was like, well, yeah, of course, it's really hard to show you got any ability if you're only getting 2 minutes. It's like in hockey, you're the fourth line and you play 5 minutes a night. How can you show you're any good? So it's really grown as the women have, and you were a major part of it. So when you were writing this book, were you writing part of that knowing that you were somewhat of a trailblazer?
I never consider myself to be someone that's famous or a trailblazer or anything. I really don't like to look at myself as some, I try to be pretty humble, but I also know that I've been through a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've grown up around a lot. I've seen a lot. My dad was, he is a WWE Hall of Famer. My uncles are Hall of Famers. My grandfather is a Hall of Famer. I've grown up around so many different men in the industry that have achieved the absolute highest of the high that you can accomplish. So I look at myself as somebody very experienced, and I've been up and down and back again through everything. I mean, I have 6 Guinness World Records for just basically the most matches. And the reason why I bring that up is because it just goes back to me having a ton of experience. And I feel like with that experience, I can just speak openly about the industry, about the highs and the lows and my joys, my hopes, my dreams, things that hurt me, things that move me, things that help me grow. Trailblazer is not something I would just call myself, but if other people would like to say that about me, then they're more than welcome to.
I think it's true.
But thank you. I'm just so honored to be a part of this journey in wrestling. And the great thing is it's still going. You know, it's still going. And if people, you know, it's if people still want to watch my work and they still want to follow me and they still want to, you know, follow my career, read the book. Like yesterday we were announced as a bestseller. My book, The Last Heart Beating, we're a Canadian national bestseller. And I was so excited about that because, as I mentioned earlier when we started this interview, the greatest thing that you can give anyone is giving them your time. So if other people see me as a legend or an icon or a female trailblazer in the industry, it's such a massive honor. And in the even bigger honor that they're taking the time to actually read my work, you know, and to hear my stories and then, you know, telling me about it. Like, it's the biggest compliment.
Well, and I could understand that. And congratulations on becoming a bestseller. That is fantastic.
Thank you.
I do have one final one for you, Nattie. When as a wrestler, and there's people listening, you know, young boys or girls, what would be the best way to give yourself a chance to become a professional wrestler?
Work hard, study it, be a student of the game. You know, all the things that you can control, you focus on that.
Okay.
People ask me all the time, how do I get involved in wrestling? I want to be a wrestler. I want to become a wrestler. It's like, find a good school, work your ass off, focus on being healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically, and then just dedicate yourself to the grind. Professional wrestling has become more competitive than it's ever been before. Especially in WWE, it's harder to get into pro wrestling and make it than it is to get into Hollywood. But the good news is, and I am proof of this, it's possible. It is possible to make it. It is possible to soar. It is possible to have a career in this. The other day, we had John Cena come into my ring. My husband and I have a private, you know, facility called The Dungeon, which we renamed after my grandfather's dungeon. John Cena came in and he spoke to the students at our ring for a while. And he gave so much incredible advice. But one of the things that I loved about what he said was, he said, find your why. And everything that you do in the ring or on your journey, figure out the story behind it. Because when you figure out your why, then you start to unlock the answers. You start to really figure out what it is that people feel compelled about to want to pay to part with their money and pay to see you in the ring. What is your why? And everything else will fall into place. So work ethic, good attitude, taking care of your body, treating people right, and finding your why.
Nattie, thanks so much for spending some time with us. I really love the book. Again, the Last Heart Beating, Nattie Neidhart, WWE superstar, and just signed a contract, so we know they'll be there at least 20 years, hopefully longer, and hopefully you get the WWE back in Alberta, so you can headline a card in Calgary or Edmonton.
Would love that. I'm always so excited to come back to Alberta. It's like, you know, the second I land, I'm like, okay, first of all, I got to drive by the Hard House. Secondly, I got to get Tim Hortons. And third, I got to go to 7-Eleven and get some ketchup potato chips.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's not a bad call at all. Well, Nattie, continued success with The Dungeon and the book and everything else. Thanks so much for joining us.
Jason, thank you so much.
That is Nattie Neidhart. I'm telling you, like, I love books where when I'm done, when I can't put it down, I'm like, you know what? I want to, you're off your phone, you're off anything else, and you're just reading it. And I learned a lot. I'll be honest. I didn't know a ton about Nattie's background. Obviously, I knew she was Jim's daughter, but I never knew how Jim got the nickname, the Anvil. It's fantastic. I don't want to ruin it. It's in the book. And there's many other things, including her husband, TJ, and, you know, his trials in wrestling, and a brutal story, in fact. So it's a really, really good read if you're a wrestler or just somebody who's having to deal with some trauma. She did not have the easiest childhood, and she wasn't shy to talk about it. So I think that can connect with a lot of people as well. So check it out in stores. The Last Heart Beating, Nattie Neidhart. Quick break. We'll come back. Greg Button joins us. Then we got Tyson Barry on a jam-packed Friday edition of The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
When you have lifting and material handling needs, Northwest Crane delivers. Western Canada's Sandy dealer, backed by the industry's toughest one. 3 years, 3,000 hours, no compromises. They service all crane makes and models with skilled technicians and deep industry expertise. Alberta owned, with locations in Leduc and Grand Prairie, and fully equipped service trucks. Northwest Crane keeps your operation lifting. For more information on sales or service, visit northwestcrane.com or call today.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado,
There's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique
Car,
products.
dry
More
sound.
than just a liquor store, we're a
Connor
community.
Halley, Sports
Alberta's
1440,
best,
Sports 40.
the one and only
Connor
Sherbrooke
Halley.
Liquor.
Welcome back, Jason.
And Oodles Beer.
Welcome back.
SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades.
The Jason
Our
Gregor.
customers have trusted us. Community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful.
Tim
If you're
Friday,
looking for a
how are
truck or SUV? Seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick.
PlayAlberta.ca.
We're making it easy.
An electrical solar team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
1940. Welcome back,
Hey
positive.
everybody, it's Jason Stredlin. How would you like to join me and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday? Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from Los Angeles and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters, you can attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Fernando Pisani, Kelly Buckberger, Ron Lowe, Gene Principe, Jack Michaels, Louis DeBrusque, and more. There's still time to get in on every hockey fan's dream cruise. Book now and save $500 per couple. The Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. Price start at just $23.99. Part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
Visit cast.tours/Edmonton. Call 1-833-347-7678. Call now to book and save $500 per cabin when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours, 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
The Friday, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching on a busy day. Wanya Gretza in studio now. Wanya, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. It's a snowy, wonderful winter wonderland.
It is the snow. Yeah, it's supposed to be plus 10 though on the weekend, so it'll be all gone by then. As let's get right to it. We go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's, and hey, it's your final weekend to get in and win. Peel like a winner. Monopoly, 2 chances in person, then and of course on the app. Double your chances and peel like a winner. Good luck. Play McDonald's and Monopoly. As Craig Button from TSN, former NHL GM and scout, Stanley Cup winner, now ace analyst and scout for TSN, joined us. Butts, how you doing?
I am good, Jason. I'm in Truro, Nova Scotia for the U17 tournament. And you probably heard about the 2 young kids that are playing in Regina, Maddox Schultz and Liam Pooh. They're here. They're a year younger than everybody. And Liam Pooh just scored the overtime winner to send Canada white to the gold medal game on Saturday. I mean, you know, we got the luxury of seeing a lot of good young players. These 2 guys are special.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. Now, Craig, you've been in Calgary a long time. Have you ever been to the Hart House?
The Hart House.
Yeah, like the Stu Hart, the family, their big wrestling house where the dungeon was.
I have not been there.
Okay. All right. Well, we just had Nattie Neidhart. That's why on she's the WWE. She's the granddaughter of Stu Hart. She's in WWE. She just wrote her book, Jim the Anvil Neidhart's Daughter, and they had a picture of it. I never even see. I've heard about the house, but I know it sounds like such a simple thing. But she actually had a picture of the house, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. Like I've always thought about it. I've just never seen it, and it's for wrestling people, it's like a big deal. Like I just like to go see the dungeon.
Yeah. You have to think that it's a WWE or wrestling museum in there. You'd have to think that would what it'd be like, right? I'll have to find a way to go get over there.
Dude, you're gonna have to. Yeah, I thought in all your trials driving around Calgary on your bike, and you could play every pickleball court in the city. I thought you would have seen the Hart Mansion by now. So yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe there's a pickleball court down in the dungeon.
Oh, God, man. Well, if there was, you'd have been there for sure. I know that.
Yeah.
If there was one across the street, you'd be like, I know where the pickleball court is, but I don't even know what this house is, but I know what the pickleball court is. Now, speaking of young players, you're watching some good, young, promising players. Right now, Craig, I know it's early, but the Anaheim Ducks, they look legit. They just threw a touchdown in back-to-back games against the Panthers and the Dallas Stars. And Cutter Gauthier's got 11 goals. Leo Carlson is like a man-child. And that team looks really good early on.
They do. But, you think, Jason, about the steps they took last year, and they did. They took real significant steps last year in their play. And, then they make the coaching change. Joe Quenneville's a very good coach. I mean, that's an understatement of all time. He's a great coach. And I think that you get to a point where you're trying to take the team to another level. Joel has done that. They're ready to go to that next level. I mean, Carlson now, you talk about Gauthier, McTavish, the blue line, and they got a lot of good young prospects. I mean, Seneke is playing there as a 19-year-old, but it's a really good team. And you think about it this way, too. I mean, they're scoring, and Dostal, hasn't really performed at the level that we saw him perform at last year. So they get some of their goaltending in order and some of the little bit better defensive play. They can be a real hard team to beat. And I don't think there's any question they're on their way up.
Oh, yeah. When I look at the Ducks, Craig, and I look at Montreal, two exciting teams. Now, I know Montreal made the playoffs last year, but, they like 91 points. They got a lot of young talent. But the one thing I noticed different, the Ducks are just bigger, right? And like Montreal, a lot of their skill is smaller skill, where the Ducks, they got a lot of bigger skill.
Yeah, and when I look at Montreal, Jason, I think that's one of the areas they're going to have to bulk up in, and I use bulk up figuratively and literally, and maybe not so much in the skill area because the skill is good, but you can't be small deeper down in your lineup. You're smaller deeper down in your lineup, you're gonna have a problem. Yeah, and I think that when you look at where Anaheim is built and their skill is big. But they're big throughout their lineup, and I think that really helps. You think about Troy Terry, who's really a good player, and I mean he was I don't want to say wallowing over there, but he just didn't have any real legs in the game because there wasn't enough support around him. Now you watch what they're doing, and I mean they're deep. They're a deep team with size and skill, and the blue line is built nicely, and then they got some good young players, and you just continue to think about how good the Anaheim Ducks are going to be, and I don't think there's any question they're going to be a really good team.
Craig, it's an ongoing evaluation. It's something you've done your whole career, right? It's ongoing, and what the evaluation is on November 7th might not be the same on December 7th. Right, so I'm well aware that things can change, but my goodness, the way he's played this season, it's going to be really hard to picture a scenario where Macklin Celebrini isn't on Canada's Olympic team.
I'm 100% with you. And again, so if we're just looking right now, Jason, and that's what we have the luxury of being able to do. And Macklin Celebrini is one of the best players in the NHL, full stop. Now, when we start to look at Team Canada and we look at what he can add to that team, I mean, this is a complete player. I've said it often. In 2006, Canada could have named Sidney Crosby. They didn't.
Yeah.
I think it was a mistake. And he was only halfway through his first NHL season. You're looking now at Celebrini. He's got a year under his belt. He's been a dominant player at 16, a dominant player at 17, an excellent player at 18, and he's no less dominant right now. So, no, Jason, you will not get an argument from me with respect to Macklin Celebrini. Like, I mean, is he not? And I ask you this question, Jason: is he not moving into lock territory for the team?
Oh, it's closing in on because he showed he can play wing, which he did at the World Championships. And not only is he a scorer, you know what? Like he's pretty solid defensively on a team that isn't, filled with a lot of, it's not like he's surrounded by Selke guys all over the place or Norris Trophy winning defensemen. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a great cast there, which leads me to my question though. What about Connor Bedard? Where do you put him in his chances?
Okay, so it's a good question, and here's how I'm going to answer it because I've thought about this. So I think for Connor Bedard to get into the conversation, he has to be at least as good as other players that he's competing for a spot with. So here's where I go. He's not better than Braden Point. He's not better than Sam Reinhart. He's not better than Mitch Marner. He's different than Tommy Wilson. So where does he find a way to get into the lineup? I don't see a path for him. Because I don't think he's as good as those. You have to be as good as players to even get consideration. I don't think he is. I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's as good yet. He's made steps this year, not as good this year as those other guys and other candidates.
Yeah, well, I just think he's in tough for sure. Whereas, Celebrini just does different things. Now, Bedard keeps rolling at the pace he's at. He's going to have a chance. Having been a general manager, Craig, and, we know that Doug Armstrong, he's looking at these teams, and a guy like, he goes into Washington and he got Logan Thompson playing great and Wilson's playing great. And, neither one of them were on the team. Like the Canadian goaltending situation, Aiden Hill isn't playing. Montembeault is a shadow of himself right now. And Binnington's numbers aren't great, but he's going to come on the team for sure. Now whether he plays the whole tournament remains to be seen. But like Canada's goaltending, Craig, like I don't care what I've heard all these, I don't know how true it is myself, the rumblings of Logan Thompson, some people on the staff aren't fans of his. I don't really care if they weren't fans of his in the past. It's impossible not to look at what he's done right now and say, hey, this guy's one of our best options in goal.
I can't disagree with you. He was a great option last year. So, they go through it. They have the three guys. I think Binnington at this point in time, he's going to get the grace of being on the team based on what he did at the Four Nations. And John Cooper said at the end of the Four Nations tournament, he said, hey, he was my guy all the way through. So I don't think that's changed despite how he's playing. But after that, I don't think there's any question. Darcy Kemper to me and Logan Thompson are the next two guys there. And let's say there was question marks about Logan. Go and have the talk with him. Tell him, hey, listen, here's what our concerns are. Here's what we need to see from you. Now go and show it. Because if we don't allow people to improve and change and show that they can fit on a team, then we're not doing our job. And from a performance point of view, Logan Thompson's lights out.
One last one for you, Craig. How much stock do you put in regulation wins in the regular season? Like if a team has to win in 3-on-3 is part of the regular season, shootouts, all that. Now those two go away in the playoffs, but does it, in your evaluation, if a team is winning, but they're not winning in regulation, is that a concern?
I don't know. I mean, when you get to the end of, like, you say winning, okay, so like when we put in the regulation wins, that means at the end of 60 minutes you were winning. But if you win in overtime or a shootout, that means that the other team wasn't beating you at the end of regulation. And ask Patrick Waugh and the Montreal Canadiens of 1993. They won 10 overtime games. You think they think that regulation wins matter? You know what ultimately matters is finding a way to win. It's a little bit different in the playoffs, obviously, because games are so tight. But you have 5 minutes of overtime, then you have the shootout. I mean, yeah, regulation wins mean that you had a little bit more ability to emerge at the end of 60 minutes. But finding a way to win is important. So you're going to tell me that if you have 10 overtime wins in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that means less than a regulation win? You just need to find a way to win. That's the way I look at it.
Craig, enjoy the tournament, and we'll get a full scouting report from you next Friday on the show.
Yeah, you can count on it. Take care.
Awesome. That's Craig Button from TSN. Yeah, they got some good young players in that U17 team, guys who are still a few years away from being drafted, but some really good young players. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Tyson Barrie, former NHLer, former Edmonton Oiler, he will join us. We are going to talk hockey and also his foray into life after hockey next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Mr. Rooter watches the big game. Go deep! What you watching, Mr. Rooter?
The Plumbing Olympics. Frankie Drain Dragon Sanchez is attempting to break the world record in the 100-meter snake. Watch! Wow! Did you see that? He snaked out a 50-pound clog. And in the middle of that wad, a gold medal. What theater?
Yeah, that's very cool, Mr. Rooter. For a plumber who's good as gold, call Mr. Rooter.
Get Black Friday prices now at The Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching Love Cedar chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off. And with every mattress purchase, you're entered for a chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Snow, colder weather, shorter days. November is officially here. But it doesn't all have to be bad news. If you're thinking about a new or used vehicle, now is the time. Massive savings, 0% financing, and don't forget tires at cost. Yes, that's right. We sell winter tires at cost. There's lots to celebrate in November. And as always, we'd like to thank all of those who have fought and served for our country. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's #1.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Herrischweiner. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree.
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
It might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Others can try to imitate, but no one can duplicate Wilhawk beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win friends with salad.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Enjoy a taste of Hawaii with Papa John's Aloha Trio. Try the classic Hawaiian, Super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizzas for only $19.99 each at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$347. We return on a positive Friday. Man, our show is jam-packed. What a lineup today. I love it. Thanks for listening. 833-401-1440. You got 10 minutes left.
Jason Gregor Show.
Yeah, I know what the show is. Thanks for that. Awesome. There we go. Coming out of nowhere, just as a reminder. It's like in stereo. Fantastic. But we got 13 minutes left if you want to go to the Oilers Avs game tomorrow. Currently $400 top bid for the tickets. Lower bowl 2 seats. Oilers attack twice. Should be the fastest game in the NHL this year. The 2 fastest teams, according to NHL Edge, the Avs and the Oilers, and both of them with 3 days without hockey. So they should be fired up. Our next guest starred actually for both of those teams as a member of the Colorado Avalanche and also a member of the Edmonton Oilers. He was for over a decade one of the top scoring defensemen in the National Hockey League. Now he's retired and is venturing out into to different ventures, and he'll be back in Edmonton tonight and tomorrow. Tyson Barrie joins us. Tyson, welcome back to the show, man. How are you doing?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Well, I appreciate it. So how's retirement treating you? I know your sense of humor is still intact. I saw your interview where you joke. You said, well, I knew it when the other teams basically decided for me rather than me. So obviously you've never been afraid to kind of have some fun with yourself. But how has retirement been? Like, is it hard? Do you miss the game?
Not yet. I don't think. I think I'm enjoying, some downtime and lots of time with the family and hanging on beautiful Vancouver Island. So there's parts of it I miss, but the actual lacing up the skates and the preparing for games and stuff, it hasn't hit me yet, I don't think. So I'm not quite missing it.
You probably just miss more of the dressing room antics and hanging out with the fellas.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, what a job. You get to hang out with 20 of your best friends every day and go for nice dinners and travel the world. So, yeah, there's definitely aspects of it I miss, but not so far, not the actual physical part of it.
Now, you played for both these teams, so I want to like superstar guys you got to play with, and obviously you thought the game on a similar level to them. Who was more serious on game day, McKinnon or McDavid?
I don't know. That's maybe Davo. Maybe. I don't know, because you could still get a chuckle out of both of them, but they both obviously at the top of their games and take the craft very seriously. So I'd call it a toss-up. I think those are two guys you don't really want to get in their way on game days. You just kind of let them do their thing.
Now, you always like to have fun. Like I watched you in practice, and you used to chirp all the time, and McDavid would get you, or if you'd stop him, it was a big celebration. Like the player, you knew that the superstar guys, and you were a superstar offensive defenseman for a decade of your career. There's lots of pressure on those guys. Did you feel it was important to try to find ways to alleviate that pressure as a teammate?
Maybe a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, they're just humans, and they enjoy a good laugh as much as anybody else. So obviously they're superstars, but when you hang out with them every day, they just kind of become another person, the teammate. So I didn't try to treat anybody differently if you're on the fourth line or the Hall of Famers. So yeah, like I said, they're just human beings, and anybody I think appreciates a good laugh.
Now, in your retirement, you are the founder of Chili Ones, which is a beer. So give me the backstory on how you became involved in this.
Yeah, oddly enough, it was just something, instead of a cold one throughout my career, we just called beers Chili Ones. And I probably had a few too many one night, and I put it in my notes in my phone that I wanted to do a beer called Chili Ones with a bunch of my hockey buddies. And lo and behold, kind of serendipitously, an opportunity came up, and someone in the industry asked if I'd want to do something, and I was like, oh, yeah, actually I do. And so we did it. There's about 18 former and current NHL guys involved, and we've got a non-alcoholic and a 3%, so just a little bit lighter, low and no, and honestly just having a really good time. It's a lot of fun and learning lots about business and the beverage space.
So are you like by choice now? Are you basically like the face of Chili Ones?
We actually just announced yesterday that Nathan McKinnon is our non-alcoholic brand ambassador. So I think he'll be more of the face than I will be, but I am certainly involved day to day.
So now, have you always kind of had was business something that intrigued you, that you always wanted to get into a business at some point when you were done?
Particularly, I think I just I like trying new things, and I'm not really afraid of much. So anything that was going to spark my interest, I probably would have followed. And beers and friends definitely qualify. So gonna see where this leads us, and give it our best shot. But yeah, I think I started about 2 years ago, so while I was still playing. So it's kind of a timing thing that I'm not sure starting a beer business while you're still playing is great for your image, but it is what it is.
It's 2025, Tyson. So when are you going to be launching your podcast, and where do we download it, and what will it be called?
You never know. I gotta, if Tyler Anderson ever makes his way back onto our continent, we'll talk podcast. But I gotta wait for my guy. He's living over in Saint Tropez right now, so
he may never come back.
He'd be my first choice. I know. Waiting for him.
So you have, well, it is, lots of people do it. Lots of guys who have stories and, have relationships with people and some wit. You're a pretty funny guy. I think would work out. Now, so you're going to be at Greta tonight and tomorrow with the Chili Ones. Obviously you got the, now you're not going to, cause you're there tonight, so you're not going to the concert, but I think you're the after party concert. Is it there tonight and tomorrow night? Is that right? Tomorrow night's the order game, right?
Yeah, tomorrow they have something going on. I'm there tonight. I got to fly back to Vancouver. I'm doing a Sportsnet broadcast against the Avs, so I'm on a tight schedule. But I'm doing the Rocky Mountain Wine and Food Festival today with Chili Ones, and then I'll be at Greta Bar tonight, slinging chilies with some pals.
Tyson, you mentioned that you haven't missed the game at all. You're doing the analyst in Vancouver, so you're still part of the game, and you're fresh removed from the game. So the game hasn't changed since Tyson Barrie retired by any stretch of the imagination. But so how do you watch it differently now? Like you're an analyst, from upstairs, you're like, geez, this game looks pretty easy from up here. I get it, but what's the difference for you being an analyst so quickly removed from playing?
You know what? It's I joked on my first show. I think I watched 70 games from the press box the year before, so I was in training. Yeah, I don't know if much changes. I think it's just trying to pick out things throughout the game that the fans are going to be interested, hearing about and talking about. So, and to be honest, when you're working for a team, you're with the Canucks, you're not saying exactly what you're thinking all the time. You got to fluff it up a little bit. So there's a bit of nuance that goes into picking what you're going to talk about and who you're going to talk about. But I don't, like you said, the game hasn't changed. So, I'm seeing a lot of the same players I spent my career playing against, and I know them well. So there's usually a couple guys on each team that I'm quite familiar with.
And one of the players, obviously you were familiar with Quinn Hughes, you played against him, but when you play against a guy 2 or 3 times a year compared to when you see them maybe 10 or 15 games in a row as an analyst, is there something specific about his game as a defenseman that's impressed you even more now that you've seen him on a more continual basis?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it was possible for me to be more impressed, but just the way that he moves across the blue line and creates time for himself and his teammates and gets the shots. So it's just, Carr, I don't think there's anybody else like those two in the game that can open up space and create separation like those two do up top. So to watch him do it every night now is it's crazy his way he skates up there. I just that's not how I skated. That's not how I got it done. Where he learned that, but it's incredible.
Well, Tyson, continued success with Chili Ones. People can go see you at the Rocky Mountain Beer and Wine Festival, which is a great event. I don't know if you've ever been to it before when you're playing. Probably not, but you'll love it. It's fantastic. And then enjoy Greta tonight, where I know you're giving away a signed McKinnon jersey and some other things. So enjoy the evening and a continued success in your business venture and in analyst work.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate having me on.
That is Tyson Berry. Tyson's actually a really funny dude. If he did a podcast, he would be a guy that a lot of people would listen to. He's very witty, and I think there was a lot of, like, I still remember people saying, "Oh yeah," I remember when Tyson Berry was on the power play, and that the people that now who love Evan Bouchard were like, "Well, anybody can do it," and now that Evan Bouchard's on there, they're like, "Well, no, not anybody can do it." I'm like, "Oh really? You mean so you're saying there's actually skill needed to run a power play?" Shocking, because you used to say, "Wow, just Berry's not that good," and I was like, the guy for a decade was one of the best offensive defensemen in the NHL. I think he had the 7th most points over 11 or 12-year span in the league, right? So, no, he was – and the thing about Tyson Berry, all you got to do is look at his numbers. Come playoff time, his game elevated. It was even better. And I won't be surprised if he has success in business, just more so from his personal interactions with people. Really nice guy, really funny. And when you talk, there's certain players that are just more popular as teammates than others. Just because, like, not every guy can be a funny guy. Guy might be a really good teammate, but he's not as outgoing. So, you notice him, but you don't notice him as much. And Barry was one where people you talk to was, oh yeah, one of my favorite teammates. Just, it's like, he's not listening because he's napping, but like Struds was that guy. It wasn't as skilled as Tyson, a little bit tougher, but definitely wasn't skilled, but he was very well liked in his room. And that allows players to stay around. Just like at work, I'm sure there's somebody listening right now and there's Bob in accounting or whatever. And you know what? That guy's here because either he's super nice or he's funny and he keeps your work culture in a better place. Now, Barry was obviously very skilled too. Don't get me wrong, but it won't surprise me if his company is successful because of his personality more than anything else. Coming up to 4:00. Jeez, we'll take a break. That was the 2 quickest hours that we've done in a long time. We had unreal guests in those first 2 hours. If you missed any, go to the podcast later on or after the show, jasongregor.com. All the interviews will be up there. Well, wide-ranging today. So I love it. We got Ed Hervey coming up later on. Also, we'll hear the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. We got Speck. We got Low Tide. Connor McDavid, a one-on-one I had with the captain of the Edmonton Oilers and more. But first, let's get to the con man. And a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. You saw it. It's out there. The snow. Well, 15% off all your tires. Don't wait till you're sliding through the intersection and you got a fender bender. Get ahead of the game, fountaintire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
4 games in the NHL tonight. You got the Red Wings and the Rangers. Also Wild in New York taking on the Islanders. Both those games start at 5. At 7, Flames host the Blackhawks. And at 8 o'clock, it's the Jets in San Jose. In the association, the Toronto Raptors in action. They'll take on the Atlanta Hawks at 5:30. Also, Wizards host the Cavs, Celtics in Orlando, Heat up against the Hornets, the Mavs in Memphis, Bucks host the Bulls, Warriors taking on the Nuggets, and the Kings hosting the 8-1 Thunder. In the WHL, the Oil Kings on the road in Medicine, half puck drop at 7. CCHL, Spruce Groves in Vernon at 8, and at 7, the Crusaders host Cranbrook. In the AJ, you've got 5 games, including the Kodiaks in Whitecourt and Bonneville hosting the Bobcats. Golden Bears hockey hosting Mount Royal tonight at 7. Pandas on the road in Calgary taking on MRU. They'll swap cities tomorrow night. The Griffins will take on UBC tonight at the DCA, and the Griffins on the road taking on UBC. At the Saddle Center this weekend, you've got Golden Bears and Pandas volleyball with Fraser Valley in town. The action gets going tonight at 6, tomorrow at 5. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear Cam Tate's words read by Jason, also ask 5 questions, and hear from General Manager of the Edmonton Elks, Ed Hervey. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantor. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantorque.com.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and sadly, some people think orthotics are just glorified shoe cushions. But I've seen a runner drop 8 minutes off her marathon, a grandmother ditch her painkillers, and a 12-year-old nail her long jump, all thanks to custom foot orthotics. So if your feet are screaming for help, flat, high, or funky, that pain's heading to your knees, hips, even your lower back, our professionals will assess you and, if indicated, custom fabricate a pair of orthotics made just for you. Happy feet make a happy person. Feet shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I've got to get 2 cheeseburgers, medium fries, and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. Hey, maybe I'll eat 1 cheeseburger right away and save one for later.
Jason Gregor Show,
Maybe
presented by
I'll stack
PlayAlberta.ca.
them and eat them both at once. Options. Oh, delicious, delicious options.
So 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a 2 cheeseburger meal for just
$7.
$9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's.
3.
It's week 1 of Canadian Tire's early Black Friday sale.
These prices won't go lower this year.
Lower, you say?
Save up to 50% November 6th to 13th. Conditions apply. Details online.
Backed by popular demand, Folsom Prison Revisited. The story of one of the greatest concerts in history returns to the Jubilee Auditorium November 22nd. Step back in time before, during, and after this iconic Johnny Cash performance. You'll relive an event that changed the life of Johnny Cash and changed music forever. Tickets at Ticketmaster.ca and the Jubilee box office. Brought to you by Stars and Stories Live.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock, welcome back. Positive Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. As always, we appreciate it. And congrats to Paulie. You're going to the game. We'll get in touch with you, buddy. Thanks for that. Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. $20 million tonight for Lotto Max. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Casino, live dealer, lottery, instance, and more, all in one place. PlayAlberta.ca. The Edmonton Oilers taking on the Colorado Avalanche tomorrow. They had some new combinations on defense. Nurse was with Regula today. They're going to play together tomorrow. Knobloch basically outlining, because, I liked how they were playing together. And then, unfortunately, Regula got injured. But liked it, so he'll put them back together. Kulak is going to play with Jake Wallman, and they'll keep Bouchard and Ekholm together. The Oilers' top 2 lines remain the same. Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid, Mangiapane, Draisaitl, Centering, Podkolzin, and Roslovic. You did have some change in the bottom 2 lines today at practice. Henrique was with Frederick and Noah Philp playing the right side, whereas Tomasic was centering Savoy and Howard. What was interesting, though, and then Curtis Lazar centered Janmark and Hyman. Hyman's not going to play tomorrow. There's a chance Janmark can play. I don't know how close it is. Like, you would think maybe he would have practiced on a line today. Now, he did take all the regular shifts. They had 5 lines on the ice today at practice. But so I guess there's a chance he could play tomorrow. But there was a lengthy conversation with Knobloch and Tomasic after practice for, like, I don't know how long, 15, 20 minutes. Like, I can't remember that. Now, it might have just been talking about the fact that, Tomasic, he's seen his ice time dwindle. He's not on the number 1 power play. So maybe it's just a raw speech from the coach. We'll see. But, so you might see Janmark in the lineup tomorrow. And if that happens, then there'll have to be some line juggling, someone coming in or out. I could see, I guess, if Janmark comes in, maybe, he plays on a line with Philp and Howard per se, and maybe on a line with Frederick and Henrique. And then you have Philp with Howard and Savoy, possibly. We'll see what they do. But the last home game, well, we've seen before earlier on home games that he had Tomasic centering Savoy and Howard, and they was getting a lot of offensive zone starts because he had the last change and he was the home team. So I could see something like that tomorrow. So we'll find out. Stuart Skinner is going to start in goal for the Edmonton Oilers for those who are watching or going to the game. Now, Connor McDavid was pretty adamant about, hey, like this, we can't be talking about the start. We're 15 games in. We're well past the start, is what a key message of his was today, and that they just gotta play more consistent, right? He feels like they're maybe getting clogged down a little bit in the neutral zone, although the head coach said we're actually lead the NHL in zone entries, so clean zone entries. But the one big thing for the Oilers that they want to clean up is they'll do good work to get a lead, and then they blow it. 6 times the Oilers have had a 2-goal lead that they've relinquished into a tie. 4 times they lost. 2 of them they came back and eventually, they beat Montreal late on goal, and they won in overtime in the other game. But that's 4 losses where you've relinquished a 2-goal lead. So, and then there's 2 other times you've done it. So that's 6 out of 15 games. Like, you're rarely leading by 2 goals, but every time they have a 2-goal lead, they've blown it to get the other team back in the game. So that's a trend that has to change.
Are you a believer of the old adage that it's American Thanksgiving when you start to look at your concern for teams? Like, is there a quarter pole?
Well, the American Thanksgiving used to be, that was a good indicator of if you were in the playoff race or not. But this year, there's so many teams that are close. There's so many more overtime games early on that there's way more points that are available to teams. So that's keeping everybody closer. Like, you look in the Eastern Conference, what is it? If you're in Philadelphia has 17 points, they're 8th place. And then Buffalo and the Rangers are 16th, and they got 14. And Columbus has 14, and they got a game in hand. So there's not really anybody that far out of it now the Calgary Flames are 6 points back, and St. Louis is, well, even St. Louis finally won. So as terrible of a start as they had, they're only 4 early on. So I don't know if the American Thanksgiving will be as much of a guideline this year as it has in the past, just because now they're still 2 weeks away for that. So I guess there could be some separation here in the next 2 weeks. But based on what we've seen, man, it is you get a point and you get a point and you get a point for overtime right now. Like, it's wild how many, what is it, 60, how many over? I think it's 62 games already that have gone to overtime. Like, they're on pace to crush the most overtime games we've seen in the NHL. In the Stanley Cup, in the salary cap era. So if that's the case, then do I think these teams are as good? No, but their point totals will keep them like they think they're in the mix a lot longer.
Are teams playing for the point? Is that what the shift is?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a little bit that leads aren't safe. So that's a good thing, right? Like, there's been more comeback wins early in the season than we've seen before. So, like, Order fans can attest. They don't like it, but the style of game, there's probably a little bit more skill now. And usually when you make a giveaway in the past, maybe it didn't come back to haunt you right away. But, they're looking at statistics of how many goals are being scored within 5 seconds of a turnover now. And it's pretty high this year. So, teams have the ability to make you pay, I think, maybe more on your giveaway. And we've seen some pretty egregious giveaways, like right in the defensive zone, in the slot, and different places that increase the opposition's chances of scoring on those turnovers.
Say what you want about the Oilers season so far. There's been entertaining games. Like, it hasn't been boring defensive hockey.
No.
Right? Like, teams blowing 2-goal leads for the casual viewer is quite entertaining.
Well, it's funny. Like, you look at the Colorado Avalanche. So they come into town tomorrow night. They currently today, now I know there's some games tonight, but right now the Avs have the most points in the NHL. They've only lost once in regulation, but they've lost 5 times in overtime / a shootout. So they've played 14 games. They've won 8 of 14, which usually isn't. It's not like look at New Jersey. New Jersey's won 10 of 14, but they're 1 point behind. So would you rather be a team that wins 10 out of 14 or a team that wins 8 out of 14? Well, all the time you'd say 10, but because Colorado gets the games to overtime and they get some points, they end up now with 1 more point than New Jersey. It's kind of wild. Like the Montreal Canadiens have won 9 games. Now, granted, 5 of them being in overtime. So, if Colorado could win more games in overtime or a shootout, they're 0-5 in extra time / shootouts this year, right? All their wins have come in regulation. So that to me is Colorado's good right now. So this will be, and sometimes maybe that's a good thing for a team like Edmonton that, if you're not on your game, it could be embarrassment city.
The Oilers are very rarely the underdog, but obviously they're going into this game not.
Oh, they're the underdog, right? The way they're playing, 100%.
So it's good for them.
Yeah. No, they will need to be on their toes. No question about it. Now let's get to the Friday edition of the 2-Minute Warning, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They are hiring. Competitive wage. You get a hiring bonus. You get RRSP matching, tuition reimbursement, great benefit package. Apply today at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, of course, longtime journalist in town. Cam, born with cerebral palsy, is in a wheelchair. He's never let it slow him down. And through the wonders of technology, Cam's words now come to life in the 2-Minute Warning. And on Friday, he gets me to read Cam's 2-Minute Warning. So here we go. Gregor, it's Positive Friday. I'm practically the Dalai Lama of good vibes today. So gather round, kids, because Uncle Cam's got a heartwarming story about humiliation, bus fumes, and spandex. Back to 2010 we go. Game 6, AJHL final in Fort McMurray. Camrose Kodiaks versus the hometown Oil Barons. I jump on the Red Arrow with young Chris O'Leary, now big shot at the Globe and Mail as assistant sports editor. Back then, he still thought media meal meant actual food and not a cold slice of pizza from 2 days ago. I had a seat in the Kodiaks team bus back to Camrose right after the game. Perfect. File the column, pack the laptop, hustle to the parking lot, and voila, no bus. Gone. Poof. Houdini'd out of Fort Mac. Not even a gum wrapper left behind. They lost and pulled out of town faster than someone spotting a parking ticket officer. Meanwhile, young Christopher is celebrating with the winning coaches, sipping Ryan, talking forecheck strategy like he's Scotty Bowman. I walk in and say, make mine a triple, and casually ask which way to the YMCA before frostbite sets in. The league scrambles up a spare hotel room, spare being the key word. The mattress had the structural integrity of a mashed potato. Then the Oil Barons, sweet fellas, offer me a team tracksuit, 3 sizes too small, because nothing says compassion like squeezing a full-grown sports writer into Lycra design for a bantam goalie. Next morning, Chris and I catch the Red Arrow back to civilization. I roll through my front door looking like I'd auditioned for Survivor, Greyhound edition. My late wife takes one look at me, unshaven, tracksuit riding north and south, and without missing a beat says, if I had any spare change, I'd give it to you. Positive Friday, everyone. Cam Tate, 2-Minute Warning. Oh, Tater, always talking, missing the bus. Tough one. Well, who just left him on the bus, man? Jeez, it's kind of a rookie move. There's no communication there. So, that was nice of them to offer the sweatsuit, tracksuit to Cam Tate. I actually had the pleasure of broadcasting play-by-play the longest game in AJHL history. And they even gave me a memento for it. I've got it still, a little pack, because it's the longest game in AJHL history. 5 overtime games in Camrose. So we were doing the games back on anysportanytime.com, myself and AJ Jacobek. So
What did that look like when the goal finally went in? Who scored and who won?
Oh God, I can't tell you who scored.
No,
it's like the individual player. No, I don't remember that. I was just like, oh, like seriously, when you're doing 8 periods as a play-by-play guy, like after a while, like you know, your voice is a little tired. Now, obviously, the players, I'm sure, are the same way, but you know, you're trying to make it exciting. It's just like, oh my God, when's this thing gonna end?
How many people were in the stands? Like, did they stay till the end?
No. Like, I think the game, I want to say by the end of the game, there's probably maybe like 50% of the crowd was still there. Yeah, so decent amount, but like it ended at, had to be close to like 1:30, 2 o'clock, right? Because the game started at 7. You're playing 8 periods. Like it was a long time.
I sat down to watch that 18-inning marathon Blue Jays game. And like, I don't really love baseball, but I want to be part of the crowd, right? And so I watched the game, and it's like the 13th inning. I'm staying there. I'm like, man, this is crazy. This game's going forever. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't like baseball. And I just turned it off and went to bed.
So you didn't watch the whole 18 innings?
I went, I think, at 15.
15. Okay.
That's pretty long.
Yeah, it's not bad. Well, at that point, I was pot committed. I'm like, how could I quit now? I don't want to be a quitter. Plus, it's my job, and I was intrigued. I wanted the Jays to win, but it was. And there was quite a few chances. Like, okay, they're going to end it here. It's going to happen, and then it did not happen. And then obviously the ending for the Jays sucked for them, but it's just how it goes.
That's an all-time World Series game, though.
Yeah, well, there's two now that have gone that long.
Oh yeah, by just being in terms of like the quality of game.
Yeah. Oh no, that series like they were talking. Well, they wrote a piece. I think it was in the Athletic and they broke down all the plays of just Game 7 alone. And they said Game 7 is one of the greatest sport. Like when you're looking at sporting events that has lead changes, great plays, you know, throwing guys out at home plate, so many different aspects that happened in that game. And they deemed it one of the greatest sports games of all time. And it's hard to argue against it, right? Like goes into extra innings. You got bases loaded. You got guys on. You think, oh my God, they're going to win. And how many times do you think they were going to win? And they didn't win. So it wasn't good. Before we go to break, I would just like to do a big shout out to everyone. We sold out the Pizza Pig Out last night and raised lots of money for Kids Sport. They'll give me an official tally later today or Monday. So thank you. Got to meet a lot of the listeners and lots of people last night who came out and, for the pizzerias who supported Unreal, we'll wait to get the voting tally in. Cause man, every year, like there is unreal pizza. And I always try to try different ones that I haven't tried before, but we had 23 different pizzerias and they bring like 3 or 4 different types of pizza. So you can't try everything. It was funny. Eddie Steele. I don't know how many times he went up for because there was so much pizza. Like there was never a shortage. Like this is the one time where like sometimes you feel sheepish. Oh, geez, I'm going up for seconds or thirds. No, this was like encourage, keep going, try more. And like Eddie Steele, I talked to Matt O'Donnell, there's quite a few former offensive linemen. They're like, this is unbelievable, man. Like Eddie was just like, I haven't eaten like this in a long time. This is great. But like he was sitting at his own table. He had a spare pizza box. He goes, God, this looks terrible, doesn't it? But he was just like loving life, just sitting there crushing pizza after pizza.
I've never in my life seen that much pizza as I did at the Pizza Pig Out.
Oh, no.
In one place? No chance.
Well, we had the biggest pizza we ever had. I took a video. I put it on Instagram last night. And like, I don't know. It was like 5 by 5 feet. It was massive.
Who brought that?
Honestly, I didn't even look.
Is it a commercially available pizza?
No, I don't. I think they made it special for the Pig Out. Yeah, they had that one. And then there was another one I saw from afar. There was like a huge triangle shape, like a shape, how most pizzas. And the box was a triangle, but it was like, 50 times bigger than a normal piece of pizza. Like it was massive.
This is a new trend for like food marketing, right?
Yeah, they just brought it for the Pizza Pig Outs. They made it special for that, which is pretty cool. So I have a picture of the box. I should know the name of it, but it's on my phone. So there was like 23 pizzerias. I'm trying different ones. That's why I have to take notes because I have my notepad. So I know which ones I'm talking about specific, but it was awesome. So thanks everyone who came and supported Kids Sport yesterday. We will take a quick break. When we return, the GM of the Elks has already made a few big signings. What's the offseason look for the green and gold? Talk about that with Ed Hervey next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
Get Black Friday prices now at the Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off, and with every mattress purchase, you're entered for a chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Start your day with a blast of sports. Kevin Carius, along with Brandon Douglas, brings the fire, the fun, and the fearless takes. Weekdays, 7 to 11. Text Kevin, 883-401-1440. Mornings with Sports 1440.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League sports season is now underway. The JPHL offers elite athletic and academic opportunities for players in the 14U, 15U, 17U, and 18U divisions. All games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV, featuring a showcase-style schedule and competitive matchups across Western Canada. Players work with experienced coaches, trainers, and elite hockey personnel. Learn more about Western Canada's fastest-growing elite hockey development stream at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Hey there, this is your wake-up call. It's time to change to your winter tires. Unless you want to be sliding and swerving around icy roads like you're some kind of dummy, head to Big Toy Shop and get it done right for a great price. We won't lie to you, inflate your bill, or waste your time. Time to change your tires. Big Toy Shop, 8315 Argyle Road. 780-298-2797.
Game day sauce.
Buddy, quit rolling up to the bar and looking like it's grade 9 grad and you're wearing your dad's old work suit. Do yourself a favor and call Game Day Suits.
Game Day Suits is Alberta-based and makes fully customizable, made-to-order suits. Perfect for hockey teams, wedding parties, or even the office crew. Book your free consultation at GameDaySuits.ca.
I'm rocking one right now. I look deadly.
You know they can't see you, right?
Okay, Mr. Announcer, you want to go, tough guy?
Game day sauce.
At Nisku Ford, we want your visit to feel as comfortable as a holiday gathering. When you shop with us, you're not just a customer, you're family. And we always give our family the best.
And the whole family is going to love our November deals. Find your favorite Ford, then choose from 0% financing or rebates as high as $10,000.
Nisku Ford to your holiday visits, or make your wish list at niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
When you visit a Booster Juice location on November 13th and purchase any regular size smoothie, you get another one free.
No way.
Yes way. We celebrate our birthday every year with a special buy one, get one smoothie offer to show our appreciation for our amazing customers from coast to coast.
I'm ready to celebrate.
Thank you, Canada, for 26 wonderful years. We look forward to serving you not one, but 2 delicious smoothies on November 13th. Conditions apply. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles.
Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The basketball show turns 10, and we welcome a new generation of basketball talk. Hoop City with Paul Sir airs Saturday mornings from 10 till noon on Sports 1440. From grassroots to NBA to the Olympics, we've got you covered.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantor. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantor's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money. Support Canada at Cantor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$425. Welcome back. Positive Friday. Sports 1440. Sports 1440.ca. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, anywhere where you listen, watch. Thanks so much. Also, you can get us on the app, iHeartRadio, Radio Player, or the Stingray app. Watching us online as well as Orders Nation YouTube. So we're everywhere. It's great. Listening, watching. We love it. Of course, football's ongoing. CFL down to the Final Four, the West and East semifinals coming up on Saturday. Got lots of NFL, college football, and more. And also the start of the offseason, well, really started a few weeks ago. Lots of big signings already for the green and gold. And the general manager of the Elks, Ed Hervey, is going to join us momentarily. All right, I thought he was on, but we will get him in a second to because I'm very interested to see. I think we mentioned this question earlier about like what's priority number one. Well, it's quarterback, right? It's always got to be quarterback because you need a quarterback in this league, and so Cody Fajardo, I would assume is coming back. And then the challenge is, if Trey Ford's not the backup, then who's going to be the backup? And will it be one with experience or not? Well, we'll find out here momentarily as Ed Hervey does join us now, the general manager of the Edmonton Elks. Ed, welcome back to the show. How you doing? Ed, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, buddy. Good to hear from you. I know the offseason's already started. You signed quite a few of your key guys to extensions already. You got Rankin done late in the season. You got Julian Grant. You got Terrell Ford. You had mentioned when you took over with Chris Morris that you wanted to build continuity. There wasn't going to be a massive changeover. Obviously, there's changes every year. But how important is it to ensure that you have the majority of your nucleus, and how confident are you that you'll have majority of your nucleus coming back next season?
I think the for us it's important that twofold. One, we want to build continuity, and two, we want there to be a clear message out there that this is a place where players are willing to commit. I think that was a big priority coming in to the season, and throughout the season was hope that we could create an environment where our top players wanted to remain here. And I think that's a strong message for us as we head into this off season and free agency, that we're building something, and the high caliber players that have took a chance on coming out here are deciding to stay. As far as the confidence in keeping players, I think that's that's something that I feel good about with respect to where we're headed. But they also have to feel good about making the decision and to stay here as well. But so far, we've had a lot of positive feedback from the players that we have talked to, and I mean, with recent signings, I think that kind of bodes well to give us the kind of momentum that we're looking for going into the offseason.
Fair to say that locking up Cody Fajardo has to be one of your main priorities. You need solid quarterback play to win.
Yeah, I think we're still waiting for Cody. I mean, Cody's put out there that he, until when we left, he was talking about the possibility of whether he's going to continue to play or not. So I think he had to go home and speak to his family, his wife, and really kind of decompress from the season, and also really look at his future and what he wants. And I want to give him time to do that. As far as the priority of signing, and obviously if he chooses that he wants to play, we're looking forward to kind of getting those conversations started. But again, if a person is ready to retire or is talking about retirement, I think they have, in Cody's case, you have to, sort that out first, whether you want to continue to play, and that's some time that he has to take to make that decision. I think once we get out past next week, he and I vow to reconnect, post Grey Cup, and really start to find out what his decision is and where his head is as far as 2026.
So if he doesn't, let's say, obviously as a GM, you're looking at both scenarios. If he comes back, that's a guy we'd really be interested in. If he doesn't, then you're going to be looking at your quarterback situation. Trey Ford is obviously still under contract. Where would that be? Like, would you be looking at if Cody's not back, going a totally different direction? Kind of what's plan B if he doesn't return?
Well, we're obviously going to look at the quarterback landscape from a standpoint of, what's available, what's going to be good for us. And again, I'm leaving this with seeing where Cody is first. Like, we haven't gotten that far down the line, but I don't really feel like we're under the gun with respect to making a decision or on a what if scenario. And you're correct. Trey Ford is under contract, and he's got plenty of experience, and he's got a year under his belt in this offense. And again, the quarterback position is always a critical area with respect to the offense, how the offense is controlled and the concerns of it. But I mean, the reality for us is, we want to kind of, we're giving Cody the time to kind of sort things out with his family, and then we'll go from there. I don't think that anyone should worry whether or not we will have a plan. I think that we're always prepared for whatever comes our way when the moment comes. But as it sits right now, we're patiently waiting to have that conversation with Cody, and then from there, we'll initiate our plan as if it's to sign Cody or to look and see what else is out there.
Ed, you played the position. I think you know the importance of the position and having kind of like a go-to number one receiver. I'm not sure you had that last year. You had a star running back, no question, maybe the most dynamic guy in the game. But do you feel you have someone internal that can become a go-to number one, or is that something you might have to look for?
No, I think that I believe that we do have receivers here. We had young receivers, and I think that what's always mistaken, and you hear people talk about what they think people don't have. Everyone always compares it to the guys who are at the top. Right. And if you go back and look at each receiver, when in their first year, nobody ever heard of any of those guys. And that's where I sit on that. And I think guys like Kayon and those guys, like having an opportunity to finally get an opportunity to get number one reps as far as opportunities in games. And I think it's more so consistency from within the group that is required. And, young players take a leap in year 2. Do I feel like we can find a receiver out there? Are we looking? Obviously, we're going to always look to improve the receiving core, and we're going to look to improve our football team in general. And if there is a guy out there that can make plays for us, we'll definitely do that. But we're not a team that's pushing the ball down the field either, right? We know our limitations within our offense, and we have to make certain that we understand that as well. People say, you guys have a vertical threat. Well, you got to be able to throw the ball down the field as well to have that. So, there's a little bit of understanding as to what we have, and what kind of offense we're running. But when we talk about a number one, I'm not necessarily convinced that if we had a number one receiver, that it would have made much of a difference this year.
Victor or Mathis? Now, Mathis, broken tailbone, which kind of, he's that big guy that you can use for jump balls. You look at those two guys as other possibilities to become big play receivers for you?
Yeah, I think the experience that in Zach's case, Zach, we feel that Zach was starting to come on, and then, unfortunately, the injury he sustained is one of those ones that you got to be it's very delicate, right? And it's not something that's very common, but because of the severity of the injury, we handled that with precaution. But his ability and his height, his range, and if he puts in the work, we feel that absolutely he could be one of those guys that can be a big play target for us. Benjamin, he also, he's a guy that's been around and played. I think opportunities have to be there. I think with him, like with most guys, right, they have to feel comfortable in the playbook and really fully grasp the game. And I think young players having an opportunity to play in their first year, they somewhat get overshadowed by the lack of people knowing who they are, right? And you got an opportunity to make a name for yourself, but this notion of number one and number two, I think that the receiving core is going to grow together, and they're going to get a lot better together once they have an offseason under the belt. But, the opportunity to make plays has to be there, right? We have to also push the ball up to give those guys a chance to make plays. And, we didn't really do that this year. We were, a lot of short passing and all these other things that we were doing offensively. And, I'm just from the school where you just give a guy an opportunity to make plays, and those guys have a chance to prove it. And we just quite honestly didn't see that a lot.
So is that something, Ed, that you'd like to see more of next year?
Absolutely. You want to see it from the outset in camp, giving guys opportunities so we can see whether guys can do it. And again, right, if you go and you bring, difference makers, as people say, and all these other positions, are we willing to throw the ball up to them is the big question. So, I think that's kind of the concern. When you're talking, when I'm looking at it, I'm not certain as to who, people will be referring to when they say, "Oh, go get," when you have a number one. It's about how are you going to use that player, and that's where where I sit. And when someone provides that answer to me, then I have a better idea of what we're looking for from an offense.
Ed Hervey joins us, GM of the Edmonton Elks. Ed, your secondary was young, but man, you had some guys who really came on, I thought, in the second half of the season and, made some plays in your secondary. I know you'd mentioned at this, you kind of knew there would be a little bit of growing pains. There's a lot of youth on your team, and you expect a lot of that growth. Just specifically in your secondary, did you have a few guys who maybe came on and played better than you were expecting?
We felt, again, you never know. Like, I'm not going to sit here and mislead the audience into believing that, we felt that, everyone in the back end was going to be this high caliber all-star player, but we felt strongly about the abilities that they possessed, and we felt very good about with time they would develop. With time working together, they would trust each other, and with that same time, they would start to play well together. And that was, the patience and what from within this building that we felt that it would come together. Someone that I thought played better than I expected them to play. We had essentially 3 rookies out there playing, with Logan and Garnes and Ross. And I think they all came in and made their plays. I'm very, very happy for all 3 of those guys because, again, and I got to give JC and Aaron Grimes and D-Mac and those guys a lot of credit for what they were able to do, and Danny Nesbitt on the defensive side for constantly working to get those players ready to go. But again, I think the future is bright, and if those guys continue to work, again, those are making the plays that they were making in critical points of the season, especially the last 2/3 of the season. I think our fans should feel really good about where the defense is heading, and it all starts with just the trust that those guys have in one another. So when we get into next season, we're talking about continuity of the roster, continuity in the defense, and specifically continuity in the back end. Those guys will get out there in training camp and really hit the ground running, because the terminology of the playbook won't be foreign to them, nor will the league and Waggles and everything else. So we're really excited about where that group is going to potentially could be going into next year.
Are you expecting the majority of your coaching staff to return?
Yeah, so far, that's more Mark, discussions with Mark. I think that I'm sure there'll be a tweak or two, as you know, in the CFL, nothing ever stays the same, but, I don't necessarily see massive changes in the coaching staff.
And over at Elks Nation, we're doing podcasts throughout the off season, obviously about the Elks, as the name would suggest. Who would you recommend we try to talk to on the current roster? Who are some entertaining guys that are a 2025 Elk we should talk to?
Well, define what you mean by entertaining.
As a fan of the team, perhaps not as the general manager, who do you think would be a good interview?
I think, when you look at the roster, Kenny Logan is quite energetic as one of the young players. He's kind of established himself as the energy source, especially at practice, for a young player. And I think when you have a chance to talk with him, you'd find quite humor. There's a lot of humor there. Joel the Blanco is another one. You've interviewed him many times, but he's another one that I think you would find a lot of fun with. Nick Anderson is another one of those guys that, just getting to know him, he's a very confident player, but also, is very aware, has a lot of self-awareness, and he would obviously be really good. I think when you talk about those 3 guys in particular, I think Luke Burton-Cron is another one who's, he's quite funny. Just whenever I hear him talking about something or he's telling a story, he's quite the character, and Jake Julian as well. Those guys are guys that if you're just looking for solid with entertainment with respect to being well-rounded conversations, I think those are the guys that you probably look for. And there's other guys, but those are the guys that come to the top of my head.
Ed, I really appreciate that, man. Enjoy the off season. Give me your thoughts quickly as a scouting analysis. Saskatchewan versus BC. There's lots of key injuries. How do you see that game going? How do you see it setting up? What's going to be the keys to victory for either team?
Well, again, this game is going to be played outdoors again. BC obviously is the hotter team. Nathan Rourke is, arguably the best player in the league. But, the Riders have had a week off, and we know it's going to be quite loud in there. And defensively, they're pretty good. And I think it's going to come down to who can control the line of scrimmage. I think that's really where this game is going to be won and lost. I'm not certain that there's going to be an opportunity for many big plays, for the Lions going from indoors to outdoors. And I think for the Riders defense, they're opportunistic. They force turnovers. They're very savvy and they're physical, and they get after the quarterback. So if they can do that on defense and contain BC, and they can, on offense, can control the ball at the line of scrimmage and run their offense, it should be quite an entertaining game on all fronts. And again, the team the hottest team in the league versus the team with 2 weeks to prepare. That's going to be an interesting matchup for us.
Ed, will you be making your way to Grey Cup? And if so, will you be making an appearance at the Spirit of Edmonton?
Yeah, I will be. I will be making an appearance at going to Grey Cup. I will be in Winnipeg. And you can't go to Grey Cup without visiting the Spirit. I mean, that is just what we do here in Edmonton, right? We support our own, so it'll be an opportunity to kind of get reacquainted with some of the old guard in there, and you have a chance to really enjoy speaking with the fans and just really enjoying the festival. So yes, I do plan on going and enjoying it.
All right. Well, have fun, and we'll talk to you again soon. Appreciate your time.
Hey, one question. I'm surprised you didn't ask me about the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay, I'm surprised. Like everyone asked me about the Dodgers when they were down 3-2. I'm just surprised that no one decided to ask me about them right now. Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ed. I appreciate it. Hey, he's a huge LA guy. He's a huge Lakers fan. He's a huge Dodger fan. And I don't think we asked that. We didn't have Ed on before, so somebody else must have asked him that one. But I totally forgot. I should have asked him about that because I knew he was a huge Dodger fan. But his point's well taken. He was cheering for his team.
If it's legit, like if you were a Dodgers fan or you're the fan of a team and this is your, like, before Ohtani, right?
Yeah.
All the power to you. Like when a true fan of a team wins the championship, even if you're a fan of the Jays, you got to hand it to true fans of the Dodgers.
Oh yeah, I don't think they. I don't think anybody holds it against them. But you don't like it, but you can respect it. Yeah, I think both things can happen at the same time.
Soldier's code, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, not bad. We'll come back. We got 5 questions. We got Spec. We got LT. Man, what a jam-packed, positive Friday edition of the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Don't look now, but I think we're being followed.
Oh, that's just my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Well, they're driving pretty close.
Because they're attached.
Save up to 15% on select tires until December 13th.
Cool.
Plus, get up to $125 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires.
Anything else?
Get $50 off $150 service when you buy those tires.
Well, that's handy.
Yep.
And weird.
Well, I love my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Book your appointment online today. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Need to make more money? Own a franchise and control your future. Come to the Franchise Show November 15th and 16th at the Edmonton Expo Center to meet with the hottest franchises. Get valuable advice at free seminars and learn how you can open a successful business. This is your only chance to see all your best money-making opportunities in one place. Find the perfect business for you at Edmonton's only franchise show, presented by Quick Bite, November 15th and 16th, Edmonton Expo Center. Get tickets at edmontonfranchiseshow.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Northwest Crane, available for all your lifting and equipment needs, specializing in selling and servicing cranes. Get lifting at northwestcrane.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. Welcome back. Your work week is almost done. Drive safe. We've had a few texts coming in from a few people in the ditch, vehicles that they've seen on 66th Street, 34th Street, 66th Ave, heading southbound. Got another one on the Henday, no surprise there. So I know the white stuff is the first time, and we all kind of have to reacquaint ourselves with the conditions, but be safe and remember, get your winter tires.
This is International Forget How to Drive Day. First snowfall
Probably.
of the year. Like, what?
Yeah. What is, you mean I can't tail someone the whole time? What's going on? Turn your lights on, folks. That's the one. Please, especially when it's snowing out. I don't know. Is it still snowing out? Snowing when I came in, still at 10 to 2. So I don't know. Was it snowing when you came in?
Oh, yeah.
Still snowing. All right.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick Furniture, mattresses, appliances, big screen TVs, electronics, you name it. They have it at great prices right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, you got Oilers Avs tomorrow night. Who's winning? And throw in a bold prediction as well.
I'll never bet against the Oilers, Connor. You know how I do my business. Now, I recognize it might not be an obvious Oilers win, so I'll make the bold prediction saying the Oilers beat the Avs.
Didn't you last week say they'd lose one of their games?
I did, and then felt guilty because they went 0-2 over the weekend, and I was like, that's on me.
Well, the Avs, it's funny. The Avs have 1 regulation loss, but they have 5 overtime shootout losses. So they've been overtime 6 times already. So have the Edmonton Oilers, which is wild in a very short period of time. So bold prediction, no overtime game. And I'll say bold, and I'm going to hate myself for this because bold's a low scoring 2-1 game. Shoot me now. But there you go.
All right, question number 2. I think heading into this season, if you said the Oilers or Avs was your Stanley Cup pick, it wouldn't have been looked at too crazy. Right now, though, who are your top 3 Stanley Cup contenders, even though it is very early in the season?
Oh, God. I haven't seen enough to change to say, well, is Barkov going to play? That changes everything for me for Florida. If Barkov's not playing, then they're not in. They're just not a contender without him. So then I would go Colorado. I would go Edmonton, and I can't rule them out. I'll go Carolina.
I would, again, never bet against the Oil, the Avalanche, the Devils. Does that sound unreasonable, Connor?
Anything you say with enough confidence, I might believe you.
There was a bunch of question marks. If you were to transcribe that statement, it went question mark, question mark.
I'll take it, though. Question number 3 for you guys. Great chat, Tyson Barry. Today seems like one of those guys you'd like to have a beer with, maybe a chilly one, even. Who is one other player above the rest?
Easy, Gene.
Hey, he did us a favor.
No, it's funny. I liked it. No, I liked it.
Who is one other NHL player right now, one above the rest, that you would like to have a beer with?
Oh, come on, now you got to have a beer with the Iceman. He's literally made of ice. That beer would be cold as ice.
I was going to say he has to be legal to drink in the United States, but he is 21. I tried to eliminate him from contention.
Can't eliminate the Iceman, Connor.
Brad Marchand.
That'd be a fun one. Question number 4. CFL playoffs tomorrow. Lions, Riders, Ticats, Owls. Who's winning and meeting in the Grey Cup?
I'm going Montreal and BC. So, yeah, that means I'm taking both the road teams. But that's what I'm going to do.
I had it written down as the Riders and the Ticats because if the Elks aren't going to be in, it's nice to see the people of Saskatchewan enjoying Riders Grey Cup. So we'll put them in there and the Ticats too. Connor, who do you think will be there?
Man, I kind of like Nathan Rourke. I like him going into Riderville, and then give me the Ticats. So we all have different answers. Final question for you guys. I saw this from Nate Bargatze little skit. Talked about if he went back in time, he'd have no way to tell the people in that time frame that he's from the future. He wouldn't know how. So I'm asking you guys, if you went back to 1825, you've got no technology, and all of a sudden you're in their garb, you're dressed like them, how would you prove to them that you're from the future?
This is a really good question. Like a really good question. There's only one thing I could think of to prove I'm from the future. I'd have to beatbox. There's no way they've seen beatboxing in 1850. And you're like, this is how we do it in the future. And then you just hit them with some freestyle beats. They haven't heard any bangers.
Would they think you're a witch?
Wow. This is the problem.
Well, that's the thing. In 1825, were they open to? Yeah, you'd have to approach it in a way that they would understand it.
I asked ChatGPT what it suggested that you do, and the responses are preposterous. Like the fact that this is what they're suggesting. They're saying that like you should predict things that are going to occur.
Well, yeah. Well, that's Back to the Future. Like that's a no-brainer.
But like it says you should describe the idea of the periodic table that won't come into availability until 1869. That's one-way ticket to Witchtown. You can't be talking about the periodic table to the average man in 1850.
Yeah, the average guy. That's like right now, how many people can even name the like in order the periodic table?
It says predict major verifiable events like the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Like,
yeah, but in 1825, hey, guess what? You know what? In 35 years, there's going to be a war. No, you'd have to have something. If it was 1825, like that's a Back to the Future idea, and I understand it, but that's a really good question. So how would I prove to people that I'm from the future? 18. Well, the thing would be, so do I know I'm going back in time, Cons, or is it just literally like I have no time to prepare? Because if I prepare, I'm going to research everything that wasn't invented in 1825, but came like right away. So now it's plausible that it's like, okay, this is something that can happen. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't know what the hell was invented.
That's the thing. You're going back right now.
Yeah. So I'm going back right now.
Yeah.
So I have no time to prepare, and I'm taking no clothing, or what am I wearing? The shirt that I have?
In this time change, your travel, you're going to be put into modern clothing that they're wearing.
Terminator style. You land in the parking lot and the cement dips down.
But here's the thing, Cons. So I'm leaving right now after the show.
Right now, actually.
All I got to do is show my bald head. No one had a shaved head back in 1825. No one shaved their head down to the wood. Boom. Easy for me. I just take my hat off. I'm from the future. Look, I have a razor. I was able to shave my head. No one shaves their head back in 1825. There are lots of guys walking around with probably the Costanza. They didn't know about it.
You're not wrong. As I asked the ChatGPT, it says that China people shave their heads, but in the Western world, in England, people weren't shaving their heads.
No chance they were. Anybody who's ever watched any sort of movie from that era, there's no bald guys in there. And if they are, they got the terrible, like, the Friar Tut. It's awful look.
It also says
I'd be a babe magnet first day in there right away. This is like, what? This guy's not the Friar Tuck? Unreal. And my glasses. Do I get to wear my glasses? That'd be another way. Why not? It's part of, I have to have my glasses.
Says who, the time travel police?
Well, they had glasses back in 1825.
Weird glasses.
Yeah, they had some. Well, maybe they didn't. I don't even know when glasses were invented. I have to think they were.
1268.
Okay, so they had glasses, but they didn't have funky ones.
Not the ones you would
Yeah,
want.
so if I just walked in with my glasses, that'd be an easy way to show it to.
It suggests you do a chemical reaction they wouldn't be aware of. Like, what?
Yeah, again,
Which
you'd
town?
you'd have to be like some science people that knew all that stuff, but I can't remember when certain scientific stuff was invented. Not off the top of my head.
The average person on the street isn't going to
Yes.
care when plutonium gets discovered.
No.
Good question.
It is a very good question. Curious what our listeners had to say. 833-401-1440. Guys, I'd take a ballpoint pen and a Bic lighter with me. Well, that's the point. You can't take anything. Otherwise, it'd be easy. You weren't allowed to bring anything from here. That's a materialistic piece.
Beatboxing's so futuristic, though. That would blow their mind.
But what about language, though? What about how he spoke? Wouldn't that be enough?
That would be a signal.
Right.
You have weird idioms.
Yeah, but just certain words.
How does that prove you're from the future, though?
Well, because you're talking words that no one else has ever heard before.
Like
You might
laser
think
beam.
You might think you're nuts.
Oh, you're going to get labeled. There was only two types of people in those days, witches and non-witches.
Now, but here's the other thing. Have you guys ever shot a gun? I have. You go back to 1825. Most of the other guys, you got like, how are you going to have your feats of strength? Like, you guys are done. You're not surviving. You guys don't know how to shoot a gun. Like, you never shot a rifle in your life, have you?
Well, they weren't. Wasn't that like the comical horn guns that you loaded?
Oh,
in
yeah.
the
They probably had a
top?
few muskets.
Buckshot.
Sure. Still, either way. But even held a gun to know how to aim it.
What if he did this?
Yeah.
Would that blow their mind?
Like, there is so many
No one
people.
can see it.
Wow. But, Gregor could see
There's so that was terrible. There's so many people in 1825 that like what we know now that we take for granted, like just some simple things, right? Like how to cook certain foods, right? Be like, no, I don't want to try it this way. But at the same time, if we had to go back to 1825, I would say 95% of people in our society today could not survive.
Oh, without a doubt.
They wouldn't know what to do. They're like, what do you mean? I got to plant something. How does that grow?
You probably land anywhere in the world, walk 2 kilometers and be dead of some sort of germ.
Yeah. So it would be, hey guys, I would show them my perfect teeth from Nick. Nick, that's actually not a bad idea.
yeah.
That's a pretty good one. Why are your teeth so white? Yeah, I have toothpaste. Pardon? We have dental floss. Pardon?
It literally says, Connor, predict women gaining the vote in 1900s. 75 years from now.
this,
Like, what?
Chat GPT,
Come on.
as shown again, isn't always the brightest. So there you go. Yeah, you'd have to. I like this one, Phil. Just tell them the winner of the next presidential election. Phil, that's a great idea. But Phil, off the top of your head, can you tell me who was the president in 1826 or the prime minister? Well, first of all, there's no prime minister because there's no Canada. But does anybody know? I don't know. 1826, who the president was?
Can you imagine trying to talk to somebody like, there is no prime minister? Like,
yeah, well, there wasn't back then, man.
The next president would have been Andrew Jackson.
That's who I was going to predict.
Well, I guess.
But that's things you like most of us wouldn't know.
Yeah, you're guessing.
I would pick up a hammer and just start working because I'd have no way to. I just try to fit in. I think
Immediately start to fit
like,
in.
well, guess I'm a woodsman.
Take a new wife. Start again.
That's it.
God.
You've been here for an hour, Connor. How do you already have a new family?
Yeah, have a barn built. And
Well, that's true. Well, hey, if they don't find you handsome, at least they'll find you handy. One of the greatest lines ever from Red. Hey, boys, cook the modern day meals with ingredients from 1825. Well, most of the ingredients were basically meat, potatoes. There was no processed food in 1825.
I bet it would be shocking to talk to somebody from 1825, just how little they would be aware of. Like, you're not getting a regular newspaper. There's maybe 10 books in your house if you're lucky.
Oh, yeah.
You ever heard of Cardi B? I'd say to them, Connor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Like you start dropping slang, they think you're like
witch.
when a kid says what skibbity or things like that.
Well, first of all, I would never walk in there saying skibbity. I don't even use it now. I don't even know what the hell skibbity means.
You can't make first contact with the 6'7" meme.
No.
Skibbity. Yeah. I mean, just like any slang like bodacious, even they'd have no idea. Groovy. Like, what's this guy talking about? So I doubt myself pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a tattoo, that'd blow their mind.
Well, would it?
No.
Like a modern day tattoo. They'd have like a weird old Navy tattoo that's all wiggly.
Maybe. I don't, but I got virgin skin, so that wouldn't help me.
Me too.
No tats here.
Me either.
Virgin for life. Let's take a quick break. We'll return. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Hey, Be one of those back then, but there is one now. And guess what? At Northgate, they have winter tires at cost. Some of you are slip sliding away as we speak to you today. So go check them out. Get some winter tires, northgategm.com.
Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL, 4 games on the schedule. Rangers and Red Wings just about to get going, as are the Islanders in Wild. Later tonight, Flames host the Blackhawks and the Jets in San Jose. In the association, Toronto Raptors in Atlanta, taking on the Hawks just after 5:30. You've also got the Celtics, Magic, Wiz, Cavs, Rockets in San Antonio. Heat host the Hornets. Mavericks taking on the Grizz, and the Nuggets up against the Warriors. In the WHL, the All Kings on the road in Medicine Hat. Puck drop 7 o'clock. CCHL, Spruce Groves in Vernon at 8. And at 7, the Crusaders host Cranbrook. In the AJ 5 game tonight, including Kodiaks in Whitecourt and Bonneville hosting the Bobcats. Golden Bears hockey hosting MRU. Down gets going 7 o'clock down at the Drake, and Pandas hockey in Calgary taking on Mount Royal. They'll swap cities tomorrow night. For the Griffins, they host UBC on the men's side at 7. The women's out on the road in Vancouver taking on UBC at 8. And at the Saddle Center this weekend, you got Bears and Pandas volleyball with Fraser Valley in town. The action gets going tonight at 6, tomorrow at 5. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell, host of The Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts. And play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocks.yeg.com.
Oodle noodle origin. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
Get Black Friday prices now at The Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching Love Cedar chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off. And with every mattress purchase, you're entered for a chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The basketball show turns 10, and we welcome a new generation of basketball talk.
Just after.
With Paul Sir airs Saturday mornings from 10 till noon on Sports 1440. From grassroots to NBA to the Olympics, we've got you covered.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Snow, colder weather, shorter days. November is officially here. But it doesn't all have to be bad news. If you're thinking about a new or used vehicle, now is the time. Massive savings, 0% financing, and don't forget tires at cost. Yes, that's right. We sell winter tires at cost. There's lots to celebrate in November. And as always, we'd like to thank all of those who have
Positive Friday.
Stop in and see us. 13215 97th Street or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
When you visit a Booster Juice location on November 13th and purchase any regular size smoothie, you get another one free.
No way.
Yes way. We celebrate our birthday every year with a special buy one, get one smoothie offer to show our appreciation for our amazing customers from coast to coast.
I'm ready to celebrate.
Thank you, Canada, for 26 wonderful years. We look forward to serving you not one, but 2 delicious smoothies on November 13th. Conditions apply. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock as we roll through Positive Friday. How are you? I know some of you hate the snow, but some of you love it. It was interesting. Alashemsky, I saw him today, and he's living in Dallas now. And he's like, man, I come home and it's snowing. He says, man, I saw it. I was just like, geez, it's like Christmas. It reminded me he doesn't see a lot of snow. So he came back and he's like, it was kind of nice to see a little bit of the white stuff. If you never see it again, you kind of miss it. So I get it. The Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, your one-stop shop for a little fun. Stay within your unit limits, so make sure to use your game sense. Go to GameSenseAB.ca to learn how to stay within your limits. Jason Gregor, Wanya Gretz, Connor Halley with you as it's time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists who can make it as easy as running water in your home or the roadways to get you to and from. GS Construction. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us, and Spec, the Oilers and the Avs tomorrow night. Both teams with 3 days between games. The two fastest teams, according to NHL Edge, by a fair margin. It should be a fast game, and I guess the question now is, after listening to the captain and the head coach, is can they find a way to take their good starts and not blow them?
Yeah, Connor McDavid is sounding impatient. He said, let's go. It's time to get going here. Like he doesn't buy the start. He doesn't buy the cup. He's tired of hearing the excuses. I'm not saying from his teammates, maybe more in the questions he gets asked, but I really got a feeling today, talking to him, looking at him, hearing his voice, that he's like, let's get going here. It's time to get moving. It's time to get past this start we always do and get into our season. So does that happen? Let's see. But the captain's not fooling around. It doesn't look like, huh?
No, not at all. And he'll, you know what? They will, the Oilers, I watched today's practice. I know the coach thought, there was at times it was a little bit choppy. I actually thought it was a pretty fast-paced practice. There was a little bit more animosity. You saw Frederick and Wallman. Frederick took him down pretty hard. Wallman didn't like it. And you know what? You need that sometimes in practice. I actually thought, practice today was pretty spirited, and definitely a longer practice because they haven't had one in a while.
Oh, for sure. It was a really good practice. Again, it was long. It was fast. Guys are so fit, eh? Like a normal person in that practice would have been sucking wind by about the 30-minute mark. So, watched it with, they went hard today for sure. And that's okay. A couple days off is good for you. And then coming back with a real hard practice today is good for you. I assume we'll get probably an optional skate in the morning. But, we're like I always say, Jay, there's sort of new levels to the season. Like guys who impress in training camp, you go, okay, great. You impressed in training camp. Then the season starts. And then that's a new level, right? Now we're playing for keeps, and some guys can still impress. That's good. Some guys fall by the wayside. But I always say you get to about halfway through November. That's when, we're at between 15 to 20 games. All the teams got their line set. People have some chemistry. Now you've played a dozen games with your line mates. Everybody's into the season. To me, this is where we're right in that area of the next gear here. And, the Oilers are okay. They're fine. They're standings wise. Don't love their game, but it's time for the next gear, right? It's time for the next gear. Here we go. So let's see if they got one.
They split up the D pairs. Nurse is going to play with Regula tomorrow, and Wallman's going to play with Kulak. Your thoughts?
Well, why not, man? I don't know. Like, I don't really know what to think. Here's what we don't know. We do see some tough plays. Wallman's had a couple of tough pinches, right? That we haven't loved here. We've all seen Bouchard's game. It hasn't been great. Nurse has been mostly pretty good. Bad game here and there, whatever. It's going to happen. So how much of those things are, when the coach looks at the video, when he looks at the Wallman pinch, sometimes they say, I don't mind the pinch. The partner's supposed to be in a certain place. The partner's supposed to do something. And if he doesn't do it, sometimes he's mad at the partner. So I'm not informed enough to know if there's something wrong with these pairs, or is he just doing what coaches do, Jason, trying to wake some guys up by, stirring the pot a little bit here. I never saw a team get a whole lot better by mixing their defensive pairs. I got to be honest with you. Have you?
Well, at certain times, yeah. If you get some guys just match better than other guys. It's at certain times, right? And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why you would think a pair works, and then you find out, you're like, oh, geez, these guys work pretty well together. So, Regula can move the puck. I know that Wallman, his conditioning isn't where he wants it to be just yet after not having the training. So I wonder if that's a small factor here.
He gets so sorry. You had him with Kulak.
Yeah, he's with Kulak. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what that tells me is you've got generally speaking, the sixth defenseman in Regula playing with a high minutes guy in Nurse. So we're probably going to see some evening out of the numbers. Maybe all of this is getting done to take some minutes away from Bouchard and Ekholm. You could say that by evening out your second two pairs, you can give them both a couple more minutes and take a couple minutes away. Bouchard has been as long as there's like 2 or 3 power plays, he leads his team's defense core in minutes every game. The only time he doesn't is when there's no power plays. So maybe that's what the coach is doing. Maybe he's trying to just even out some minutes and keep things, instead of having one pair play a whole bunch more than everybody else. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, Nurse's numbers aren't great, right? Him and Wallman haven't been great together. So I think that's a part of it. To be honest here, if you just look at some of their underlying numbers, it hasn't been ideal. So I think that's a part of it. If I've actually looked at the minutes played, Spec, and you're right. There's been a lot of 5-on-5 minutes in these games lately, and there hasn't been a big difference between 1, 2, and 3 as far as minutes go overall. So, Darnell Nurse all season has played the most minutes 5-on-5 of any order defenseman, which is the same as last year. So, people say, no, Paul Coffey was different. No, he wasn't. Nurse played the most 5-on-5. Now, that's because Bouchard plays on the first unit power play and usually plays the majority of it. So if there's ever that unicorn game, it seems, for the Oilers where their power play gets actually 3 chances, well, then, yeah. But when it's even then Wallman or Nurse were actually the guys getting more minutes. So it's kind of fascinating to see how Mark Stewart has spread it out on their back end. The top 2 lines remained the same as they should. No surprise. The top line scored 2 goals off the rush lately. The Roslovic, Draisaitl, Podkolzin line looks good. They went back to Masick at center ice in practice with the 2 kids, which is what he's used when he's on home ice before, because he can get them out for offensive zone starts. And then he put Philp on the right wing with Henrique and Frederick. Now, the one potential caveat there is, he said Janmark's a maybe. I don't think, if he doesn't skate today on one of the top 4 lines, I don't see why you'd suddenly play him tomorrow when it's an optional skate.
No, I don't either. I would say he's probably more likely to play Monday. I would agree with you on that. I don't if this is a good home ice lineup with Tomasic and those 2 kids like Howard and Savoy. Sure, that's fine. You can shelter them. You got to shelter that line, and if you're on home ice, you can do that, no problem. I would say the bottom 6 needs to get going here. Slowly they're figuring stuff out. Yeah, he moved his defensive pairs around. They'll get to that, but your top 2 lines are actually looking pretty healthy here, right? McDavid's wingers, Mangiapane and Nugent Hopkins, they're going okay. I don't mind a look at that line. They scored a couple nice goals off rushes lately. And we all knew Draisaitl will go back with Podkolzin eventually, right? It was inevitable, and he is. And that line's looking good. Roslovic looks excellent here with Draisaitl. So Great. You got 2 lines. It's a place to start. Now you need a line down there, the second, third, or fourth line to establish itself, to grab the reins and say, you can count on us. We're going to get you a goal every second game-ish. We're going to be responsible defensively. We're going to have shifts from the other team's end. That's what's next here for this team to get going, is the depth guys got to start pulling the rope a little bit harder.
Mark Spector joins us here, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Looking, Spec, at the Avs who come in here. They've played 14 games. They've won 8, all in regulation. They've lost 1 in regulation, but they've lost 5 in overtime and a shootout. So, like, they've only won 8 of 14 games in regulation. Good. But like, I see a lot of these teams, and hey, Colorado's good, don't get me wrong, but like, it's so many overtime games earlier. It's kind of hard to get a beat on, like, are they as dominant as 8-1, or is it really they're 8-6? Like, how do you view them?
Well, I guess what I'd say to you is they're not letting games get away. You know, when you can see that when they're within striking distance, when they're in a 2-2 game or whatever it is, they're getting it to overtime. And in today's NHL, that's really a goal, isn't it, Jay? I mean, we watched that St. Louis Edmonton game, and Matthias Ekholm was dead right after. He said it felt like for the last 10 minutes, both teams were playing for overtime. And the Oilers blinked first. St. Louis scores, and they don't even get a point. So that really sucks. And I would say to you, Colorado's not doing that. Colorado can hang on to their position in the game. They're not giving games away. So give them credit for that. Maybe overtime's not going their way, I guess. But you know what? Colorado's good. Like, Colorado's a fun team, a good team. I suspect, I'm not sure they're not ready to get back on top of Dallas here. I'm not sure that I like them better than Dallas. I like their team better than Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I for sure. But who's been in the Western Conference Final the last 2 years? Hadn't been Colorado.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably time that Colorado gets back to where I think they belong. I think they're the best team in that division.
Well, and they've been doing it without their number 1 goalie. That's what's been impressive about them. So the Avs look good. This will be a real big test for the Edmonton Oilers. Should be a fast test, Spec. So have fun with it. We will chat with you on Monday.
That sounds good, Jay. Have a great weekend.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. LT is up next. It's Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You know your neighbor, right? The one who watches your house when you're away, who keeps their yard looking nice, who says hello every day. That's us. GS Construction. Now, we probably don't live right beside you, but we do live in your community. And when it comes to water and wastewater infrastructure, moving along smoothly, we're the ones doing that work. GS Construction has been doing it since 1974, over 50 years. So you could say we are your neighbors who wear hard hats and work boots. To find out what your neighbors do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The basketball show turns 10, and we welcome a new generation of basketball talk. Hoop City with Paul Sir airs Saturday mornings from 10 till noon on Sports 1440. From grassroots to NBA to the Olympics, we've got you covered.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at TAP 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Creek is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular price menu order when you enter promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
A wintry positive Friday. First time we said that in a while. Hope you have your lights on. Hope you have your patience with you as you make your way home. And probably a little bit slower going on the roadways. Everybody get home safe.
I got no issue with a November 7th snow. We got a nice Halloween. We had a wonderful October.
I don't have an issue with it at all. I'm just saying if it gets on the roadways, that it's all now. It's supposed to be plus 10 on the weekend, so it's going to be all gone anyway.
There's some folks though cursing the snow tonight.
Yeah, see, I like the snow. I was even, you know what? Pulled up my shovel. I was like, all right, here we go. I had a quick little shovel before I leave because it's the one thing. Like everybody has things in their life that they know. They're just like, it probably shouldn't bother me, but it does. I do not like driving over snow on your pad because then it's packed down and it's the worst. And even though I knew it's probably supposed to melt on the weekend, I'm like, well, if it doesn't, I don't want to have packed snow. So I'm like, no, before I leave, get out there. And it was light. It wasn't much because it probably started snowing around noon or 11:30. So I didn't have tons of snow. And it was awesome. It was just going right away. No big deal. And, you know, when I come home from work, if there's fresh snow on my pad, I don't park in the pad. I park on the road, like in front of my driveway, get out, open the garage door, go shovel, and then I drive in. I just don't like driving on it. Everybody has their thing. Like I'm not Mr. Clean about anything, but that's it. That and don't go to bed with dirty dishes in the sink. Can't do it.
I can always find a weather-related reason to not do yard work. Like, it's not time to rake leaves. There's still a lot that are going to fall. Or, it's not time to shovel your snow. It'll be gone by noon. I love telling myself that when I get up in the morning. There's no reason to shovel the snow. It'll be gone by noon. And I leave.
Yeah, so everybody's different. We'll see what LT does as we get to the oil report, brought to you by Go Auto. Hey, maybe you're thinking, man, I need a four-wheel drive. Well, they got that. They got over 15,000 vehicles to choose from and all the winter tires you need. Check it out, goauto.ca. Alan Mitchell, host of the Lowdown, noon to 2. LT, are you a shoveler of your pad or do you care?
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds it may tend to incriminate me. No, I don't. Look, everything Wanye said I do except worse, you know.
No.
Like if I've got to rake the leaves, I'm like, well, maybe I'll do it in the spring, you know.
Fertilizer for the lawn, LT. I say that to myself. I say, they need that in the winter. It's fertilizer.
You know what's funny? Like, I know like my lawn, I have an okay size back lawn. It's not big, but I grew up on a farm. We had like 2-acre lawn. You had to rake leaves. Like when people say, gotta rake leaves. I'm like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Like it was like a day-long thing, right? Now, as a kid, you know, a big pile of leaves, and I'm telling you, like massive pile of leaves. Jump into it is unreal.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you that
it took a long time.
Yeah. I had a small tree growing out of my eaves troughs once. And my neighbor had to point it out. I didn't even notice it. So, I keep things up, but chances are I'm last minute guy on pretty much everything.
Okay. All right. Well, that's valid. I get it.
I'd say to the neighbor, why don't you have a tree growing out of your eaves trough? That's what I would rebuttal with, LT.
I thought it might increase the sale price of the house if I sold it, you know?
Sounds enchanting.
Al, give me your thoughts. Wallman Nurse split up.
You know what? I like them together, but I think that, here's the thing. We're new enough on Wallman. We don't know where he fits ideally. So I don't mind them moving around. One thing I like is that I think Nurse Wallman fit well enough that if you had to trade Stetcher, you could let go of that, safety net, because Nurse Stetcher play well together. I like Nurse Wallman together, but I have no quarrel with, Wallman might end up being better with a different pairing. He's a hell of a player, and he's having a great 7 points in 9 games. He's something like 11-7 in goals, 5-on-5, which is +4 and a real +4, not with a bunch of empty net goals. I'm a fan, so I think Wallman is a guy the coach should be able to experiment with a little bit. He's still relatively new.
Oh yeah. I think that, first of all, I don't think they're going to trade. I could be wrong here, but a Troy Stetcher trade to me only occurs if a team gets an injury. I think Troy Stetcher's, unfortunately for him, probably going to be going on waivers. I just read the tea leaves here, and it just doesn't. Yeah. 8 defensemen, 8 defensemen's the worst if you're that 8th D-man. You don't know when you're getting in because you need 2 guys to come out, right? And the Oilers have 5 D-men that aren't coming out unless there's an injury. So there's really Regula and Emberson might go back and forth, right? And then you go Regula, Emberson, and Stetcher. I think it just becomes too hard.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that, and I really like Troy Stetcher, so I'm not trying to, be funny or put him down. But NHL teams have their number 8 guy in the AHL and ready to call up. So they're already sort of committed to that player, and he's part of the team. That's why often, guys do clear waivers when maybe you're surprised, unless there's an injury that nobody knows about. Sometimes you put a player on the injury on waivers, and then that night somebody gets hurt. That's how they lost Dermott.
Yeah, well, it's very true. Interesting that he went to Masick with the 2 kids, because he's done it before on home ice because he gets the offensive zone starts, right? And then he put Noah Philp with Henrique and Frederick. Now, the small chance, and I think it's small, that Janmark plays on Saturday, because I think if he was playing Saturday, he would have skated in a full practice today on a line. Now, I could be wrong, right? There's something, he has one more test to pass, but I'm like, because he was out there on a line, took every line rush with Hyman and Lazar. So clearly he was okay to do well. So I'm like, well, why would you practice when it's your only practice with a guy who and then he goes into the game and he hasn't played all year, right? Like, to me, if Janmark was going to play, he would have played. He would have practiced today. So I'm going to guess him and Hyman don't play. Hyman sounds like probably not going to play till the road trip, and Janmark, if he doesn't play Saturday, will play on Monday. So he comes in, you move some guys around, but right now, the bottom 6 has gotten outscored. There's no question that it needs to be better. Is there a combination you think that works, and why in the bottom 6?
Oh God! You know what? I want one of the rookies to work well with Henrique, because I think that if Nuge moves down, I'm not saying he will, but let's say he moves down when Hyman comes in. If Nuge is the 3rd line center, Nuge, Howard, Savoy, or Henrique. Henrique, Nuge, Howard, or Henrique, Nuge, Savoy. I just want one of those rookies to play on the 3rd line for 20 games. And I know it's going to be hard. And I don't know if Howard's going out, but they have to kind of figure out who's on the 3rd and who's on the 4th line. I would just like to see one of those kids play on the 3rd line with either Nugent Hopkins and Henrique, or both, because Henrique and Howard had a little bit of chemistry. They had a real nice goal. Henrique behind the net out to Howard, just shoveled it in. And Savoy's got to get going. So I'd like to see one or both of those guys with Nuge. I don't know if it's going to happen, because I don't know what the McDavid line will look like when Hyman comes back.
Well, I got to think the minute Zach, I watched him in practice today, and man, he's just relentless on the puck.
Yeah.
And I watch everything about him around the net. I'm like, oh man, he is going to be such a welcome addition. I don't even care if he scores. Obviously you want him to score, but the little things he does, Al, this team really misses.
Oh, you know what? I agree, Jason. I remember when he first came here, I was delighted. I've watched a lot of hockey since the 60s. It's impossible or difficult to get me to be delighted about a player. But Hyman is he has a nonstop motor. He's just absolutely fearless, and he never backs down. He's always after the puck. The guy's relentless, and he won't stop. And because of that, I think he's just absolutely abundantly perfect for McDavid, because you need that guy who's going to turn over pucks, going to force the play. Everybody's always under pressure. He contests everything. They've missed Hyman. That was a really, I honestly think, and I haven't said it before, but I honestly think that injury cost them the Stanley Cup.
Oh, I think, you know what? I can understand that it definitely really lowered their chances, because Hyman does things on the ice that creates even more space for McDavid. Now, McDavid's really good on his own. We're seeing that, of course, but when it's best on best, the small little 1 or 2% difference is usually the difference in who wins or loses. And
it was close enough until game 6. Like game 5, 6 were tough for the Oilers, but after 4, they were good. And if you've got Hyman on that team, I think they win it.
Yeah, you could be right. Al, what do you make of the Avalanche? They're 8-1, but they've lost 5 in overtime / shootout. So they've won 8 of 14. Are they dominant, or are they? I'm not sure. What do you make of them?
It's funny you mention that, because I believe they're better this year. I do, than they were a year ago. But they won in 22, and then they've kind of been, running in place since then. And I know they want to take a step forward, and at times it looks like they are, but they stub their toe a little bit here and there too. So I'm not saying they're like the Oilers. I think they have more things going on, and their 5-on-5 scoring is exceptional, but their power play isn't right. So I think they're a really good team, and this is a massive test for the Oilers. But I think they, like the Oilers, have some things to work on, and we'll probably see that. I just love watching the Avalanche play. They have so many ridiculously skilled players, and there's going to be a lot of Olympians playing tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's a very fair fair point. Now, speaking of the Olympics, Al, Macklin Celebrini is he closing in on lock territory to make the team?
Well, you know what? You mentioned the defenseman the other day, and this team is going to be a lot younger, I think, and he could be. This Olympic team is going to be different than I thought it was, certainly a year ago, but even a few months ago, because these young guys, Celebrini, others, they're pushing. And I mean, who are the goalies, guys? Who's going to start for Canada in goal?
Well, it's got to be Logan Thompson, doesn't it? Right? Like, I think if it's not him, well, Binnington's on the team for sure. He won you the Four Nations. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt. But will he be the starter the whole time? No, he might be the starter for game 1, maybe. But to me, the way Logan Thompson, if Logan Thompson puts up another month like this, Al, I don't see how you can't take him. Like, Montembeault and Hill at this point aren't even options.
Yeah. Well, what you might do is start Binnington and then for one game and then go to, because Binnington, you're right, he sort of earned that. But I think Canada wins this if they get really good goaltending. That's the only worry I have. I love the Canadian team. It's just a rocket.
Does Connor Bedard get any mention when you're considering LT, if you're the Olympic chairman, which I assume you are?
I want to have a mix. Like, I would like to go all skill, but we never do. Canada never goes all skill. So, I don't know. Let me counter. Would you run with Suzuki? Would you put Suzuki on the team?
It's a good question. I mean, it's the makeup of the team, right? It's what you're trying to build, right? I was surprised that Bedard didn't make the Four Nations Cup team.
Really? He's a great player.
He's a great player.
Great player.
Not last year, he wasn't.
Wow, but I think this was the point, right? Like,
he wasn't deserving to be on the team last year. Now this year, yeah, he is. But you look and say, okay, like, Celebrini's advantage is he can play wing, and he's a better defensive player, right? So that's the advantage. And you look and say, okay, so we got McDavid and you got McKinnon. Those are your top 2 centers. I don't think there's much debate on that. So then you look, okay, well, Crosby's on the team, Braden Point's on the team, Sam Reinhart's on the team, right? So there's 5 forwards. So then you look and say, okay, well, what about Mark Scheifele? Right? Like, Mark Scheifele's having himself a great. You mentioned Nick Suzuki. Yeah, now Nick Suzuki only has 3 goals, so he's a good playmaker, but where does he fit on this team? Like, Suzuki has 9 power play points right now. He ain't playing on the power play for Team Canada, right? Like, half his points, just under 9 out of 19 are on the power play. So that's going to be a factor for him. I look at, like, Tom, you need some guys with some size, right? You need, and Tom Wilson's got size, but he's also got skill. He's got 8 goals, right? He's got 15 points. Like, he's there. there's like, I look at guys like, Seth Jarvis, Brandon Hagel, Konechny, where's Mark Stone? Is he even going to be healthy? So there's 4 guys that could be replaced, right? So somebody's got to come in.
Well, I've always said the thing about Canada is you could have a Canadian team A and a Canadian team B, and Canadian team B on a good night might beat Canadian team A.
Yeah. Like I forgot, Mitch Marner's on the team, right? Like I don't think there's much debate on that. So there's 6 forwards for sure. And then, so like I know Sam Bennett's not, Sam Bennett, like that's why I chuckled at the people who thought, oh, great deal for Florida. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's 50 points once in his career. Now, I like Sam Bennett. He just had a career year in the playoffs, 16 goals. He ain't never doing that again. Crosby and Ovechkin have never scored 15 goals twice in the playoffs. So Sam Bennett sure as hell ain't going to do it because it's really hard. But I like what he did, but there's not the physicality here. The difference is Bennett has shown an ability to score in the big games, right? So can he be your 4th line center? That's probably going to help, right? So Suzuki and Bedard, there's probably room for one. There's definitely not room for both. And I wouldn't be shocked if neither's on the team out, to be honest. Right? Like, what about Brad Marchand to you?
Yeah, well, and he might. Well, I'm a Marchand guy. He might get. Whenever it comes down to this conversation, I always assume the coaches are going to take experience. Now, Marchand is a little long in the tooth, and Suzuki has plenty of experience. But I think if we're lining those 3 up, it's probably Marchand. And I mean, we have as recent example as the Stanley Cup final last year about what he can do in big games. And they do look for that. I mean, I don't think this coaching team is going to be, they're not going to Mike Babcock the Olympics, but they are going to have a range of players and guys who can play defense and penalty kill.
Yeah. Well, the Mike Babcock 2014 team was so good defensively. Like they didn't give up. But that was honestly, it was like one of the more boring Olympics ever. Like Canada just was like, they was like a python and just sucked the life out of the other team's offense, right? Like 2-1, dude. Like, and they were out shooting teams by a lot and not scoring, but they didn't give up anything, right? Man, they had all trees on the back end. They were massive and they could skate and they're really good. So yeah, like Canada's defense still looks pretty good, but it's not as like that 2014 defense core 1 through 6 might have been their best one.
Yeah, that's true. I have a question for you about the Olympic team. Do you like their uniforms?
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. But again, I'm not Mr. Jersey guy, but I liked it. I thought, pretty simple's better for me. And I thought that was pretty kind of simple.
I like the white ones.
When they roll out new jerseys, LT, I have a cycle I go through. I see them the first time, I say, nope, that's awful. And then Connor wears it on the ice and whizzes around. And I think I should probably get one of those. It looks pretty good.
My favorite thing of yours is still the time. I think it was Everly. You're going to the game and he scores. You go, whoop! I got to go get me an Everly version
on the spot.
You go buy it. That to me is the ultimate, man. I just love that story. He scored. Why am I not in an Everly jersey?
That story's getting further and further years back too, LT.
Well, that was his first game, right?
First game.
When he scored that goal, I could see why a lot of people. All right, sign me up. That's his first goal in the NHL. Like a goal of the year. It actually won goal of the year that year, and it was happening in the first game of the season. It's still one of the when you rank players' first goals in the NHL.
Oh, it's the best.
It's right up there. Like there's probably a few others that I'm unaware, but that actually would be a great conversation. Fans and other sports. Okay, give me your organization's greatest first goal by a player.
And that would be hard to beat, man. Yeah. It just would be,
because it doesn't have to be a great player. Like I don't care if it's Joe Smith who played 6 games when his first goal was unreal. It's just like who had the best first goal as an NHL player, and that one by Everly, like to walk the defense, and then it's Kiprasov. Like it's pretty nice.
That was such a moment in time too, because all the super rookies were starting that one game, right?
Yeah.
So there was every line had a new guy you were looking for that you couldn't wait to see how they turned out. What a great game.
Yeah.
Do we know what Strudwick's first goal looked like? He might win that thing.
Oh God. I think he shot it from the point and it hit a stick and went in. I think that's
electric.
I think it's now his first shootout goal, is pretty important, right? It was unexpected, right? The old classic 7-hole shot. I'm going high glove. It goes blocker. Ha ha. I got him. So
Yeah, when I met him, he said, "Hi, I'm Jason. Let me show you that overtime goal I scored." And that's how he was introduced himself. And then he sang "Sweet Caroline" and showed me his butt in his jeans. It was quite the deal.
And every part of that story is believable. That's what's so great about it. It is, everyone's like, oh yeah, I could believe that Strutty would do that. So it makes sense. Al,
yeah.
Have yourself a wonderful day. Hey, I haven't talked to you since. What do you make of the Jays getting Bieber?
Oh, I love it. That is such a sweet deal for the Jays. Man, I love that. I have to say that's manna from heaven. That he could have gotten 3-4 years at more, and that's a great deal for Toronto Blue Jays. Their pitching got a lot better that day. Now they got to probably get one more, like maybe Bassett comes back, but that was a big problem solved for them, big time.
Yes. So
no,
I am looking up. Strutty's first NHL goal came in 1999, 2000. I remember because for a while there he had the record or second longest start to a career without a goal. It was like 126 games. He was rattled when he learned that. And I'm trying to find out the game that he scored it in. Looking it up, it was actually on the road against the LA Kings. It was almost like it didn't happen because it was on February 29th of all days, for goodness sakes. And it was the game tying goal. He scored it late in the first period with 29 seconds left in a 1-1 game. So, hey, guess what? His first NHL goal was at least a game tying goal.
That's beautiful
at the time, but it's so long ago that there's no video on it. I think he told me the story once. I think it was just literally like off a face-off, point shot through a maze, and it just went in, and he didn't even know it went in.
127 games in.
Yeah, I think it
wow.
was. It was.
That's even more than JF Jacques.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, the Tobias Reeder. That's a record. Like when we talk records, it'll never be broken. Most games played by an order forward without a goal.
That was incredible. It really was.
Yeah.
And he had some years where he scored 16, 17. That was remember Bob Nicholson at the whatever event it was.
Bobby's regretting that thing. We've all said things where you're just like, you know what, man, might not have been accurate. Toby Reeder didn't score a goal. That's the reason you lost and missed the playoffs by 20 points or whatever the hell it was. But
you know what? I agree though. I remember that moment, and I bet you anything, Mr. Nicholson did regret saying that because you never want to say that sort of thing. No. I say things I regret every weekday, noon to 2 on Sports 1440. People want to listen.
Trust me, they do listen quite often. It's fantastic.
I would have loved to have been with Toby Reeder, LT, when he got the news that it was his fault. He'd be like, really? That was me.
Who knew?
Yeah, I was pretty damn important. That's how you kind of look at holy cow, man. I didn't know I was that important. So there's Toby Reeder, 67 games, no goal. I mean, do you remember the other guy that kind of feels sorry for him was Patrick Russell because he played 59 games. And remember in Vancouver, he had the goal he scored, celebrated all excited, and then they reviewed it and it came out back and it didn't count. So
I was so pissed. Just let the guy have the goal for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
There you go. Awesome. Have a good one, LT. We'll talk to you Monday.
All right. Be good.
It's LT, host of The Lowdown. There's 3 Oilers that have played 30 games as a forward who never scored a goal.
Was Connor Brown in that mix?
No,
he was stone cold.
Never scored a goal.
Oh,
he went 50 games. You're right.
Yeah.
But just in their whole career as an Oiler, 30 plus games, never scored a goal. There's 3. I gave you 2. We'll see if you can get the other one during the break. Tobias Reeder, Patrick Russell. Think of the other one, Oiler fans. This guy played over 30 games for an Oiler as a forward, never scored a goal. 833-401-1440. We'll return.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts, and play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocksyeg.com.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Throw a load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Get Black Friday prices now at the Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching love seater chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off, and with every mattress purchase, you're entered for a chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Miss golf during the off-season? Of course you do. So head to the Leduc Golf Club and try their state-of-the-art golf simulators. Perfect your swing, enjoy delicious food and beverages, and even book a lesson with one of the Leduc Golf Club pros. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just starting, the Leduc Golf Club simulators offer a great way to keep your game sharp any time of the year. Call or visit the Leduc Golf Club today to book your spot and swing into action all year round.
Smart, connected, community-driven. Jason Gregor sets the standard for sports talk in Edmonton. Join the conversation on Sports 1440. Text Gregor, 833-401-1440. Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EWEL. Get your power play amped up with EWEL, supplying the city of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWEL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We return, Jason Gregor. That's Connor Halley. A busy show, man. Unreal lineup. Great job by Brad and the Con Man today. If you missed any parts of the show, we had Connor McDavid on the first hour. We also had Rick Westhead talking about his book, very important book. We had Nattie Neidhart, who, of course, longest running woman in WWE. Of course, Jim the Anvil Neidhart's daughter. Her book was fantastic. We had her on. We had GM of the Elks, Ed Hervey, Craig Button. God, LT, Tyson Berry, packed show today.
Will that McDavid interview be separate on the YouTube channel?
I think it will be, yes. Yeah. It'll be up on the YouTube channel. You can get it on our podcast. You can also jasongregor.com. So, yeah, it'll be up in all of those places. Have yourselves a great weekend, everyone. Please do not drink and drive. Get home safe. Get home smart. Don't weed and drive. You got hockey. You got football. CFL playoffs. We'll know who's in the Grey Cup come Saturday night. You got the Oilers and the Avs, fastest game of the weekend in the NHL. Huge games in the NFL. So enjoy it all. Be safe. We will talk to you on Monday. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. Your fridge just got an upgrade. Over 200 chef-prepared gourmet meals are waiting at Loca Quality Market. Shop online, loca.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
4 games on the ice tonight at the NHL level. After 20 minutes, Red Wings and Rangers tied at 1 apiece, and a Wild up on the Islanders 2-0. At 7 o'clock, Flames hosting the Blackhawks. Then at 8, you got the Jets in San Jose. In the association, Raptors in action. It's early. They trail the Hawks 12-7. Elsewhere, Cavs up on the Wizards 55-40. And the Magic have a 43-37 lead over the Celtics in the second quarter. Later tonight, Heat host the Hornets, the Mavs in Memphis, Bucks taking on the Bulls, Jazz, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Warriors, and the Thunder in Sacramento. In the WHL, the Oil Kings are on the road tonight in Medicine Hat. That gets going at 7. In the BCHL, you've got Spruce Grove in Vernon at 8. At 7 in town here, Crusaders hosting Cranbrook, and in the AJ, 5 games, including Kodiaks in Whitecourt and Bonnyville hosting the Bobcats. Golden Bears hockey hosts Mount Royal at 7 down at the Drake. Pandas in Calgary taking on Mount Royal. They'll swap cities tomorrow evening. Griffins men's hockey hosting UBC tonight at 7, while the women in Vancouver taking on UBC at 8. And at the Saville Center this weekend, you've got Golden Bears and Pandas volleyball with Fraser Valley in town. Tonight, that gets going at 6. Tomorrow at 5. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it is Fox Sports Radio all night long. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. with the Saturday Sports setup, followed by Hoop City with Paul Sir, plus pregame coverage as the Oilers take on the Avs. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.